Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Cleave to Antiquity. My name is Ben, and today I got another episode of This Week in Roman Catholic News. I have quite a bit to talk about this week. It's going to be a crazy episode. We got Trent Dougherty returning. I honestly wasn't expecting that, but that's kind of wild. We'll dive into that a bit. We got Trent Horn condemning Dyer to hell. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And a couple of other things. We got Pope Leo's Pachamama scandal and things like this. So we'll be diving into quite a bit of news this episode. Let me know how the audio is. I kind of rearranged my setup. Is the audio better or is it worse? What do you think? Oh yeah, we're going to be diving into that. The old Trent Dougherty clip. That is a classic. That is a classic clip. Yeah, I noticed previously my my audio sounded off because it was all the way off to the side. So now it's right up in my face. So it should sound a little better now. All right. Well, we're going to be diving into some news here. So we've got the Trent Horn drama. We've got the Trent Dougherty returning situation. But first, I want to start things off. We'll get into both of those in a bit. But I want to start things off by talking about what's going on with Carrie Prejean. So she was on my show a little while ago, less than a month ago, talking about how she was fired, let go, not really fired, but she was kicked off of the religious liberty office, the Trump appointee office. Anyway, we got a whole bunch of the Roman Catholic hierarchs now disavowing her, all sorts of craziness. Let's get into that. I'm going to share my screen here because it's been kind of some disgusting responses here. Well, you know what? I realized I messed up my lighting. Let me fix that right quick. There you go. That should be a little better. All right, let's share this and we'll dive into it. So we got the Carrie Prejean situation. So there was a leaked, this was 2 weeks ago, technically. So there was a leaked USCCB, which is the United States Council of Catholic Bishops. They had a, I guess, document condemning Carrie Prejean. She was calling out for bishops to come support her, saying, hey, look, these guys kicked me off the Religious Liberty campaign or commission because I was opposing Zionism. Hey, Roman Catholics, right? We oppose Zionism, right? You know, it's in our theology, quote unquote. I mean, unless you were going to like look at some of the entailments of Nostra Aetate, people could twist. But historically, Roman Catholics have opposed Zionism. So why is the USCCB pushing back on her getting, calling out the fact that she was kicked off of this commission? So let's read what they had to say about it. There was a, hold on. There was an actual, I guess he just cites he could cite it here. All right. I had a link to it, but I'll read the actual article here. So the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops is opening its pulpits to error with a new directive for pastors naming Carrie Prejean Bowler, a recently ousted member of President Trump's Religious Liberty Commission, for her recitation of perennial church teaching on Jews and Zionism. So they're not happy that she's pushing back on this, is what it seems like. I wonder why. Why would they be defending Zionism? Huh? All right, well, let's take a look. The USCCB's Committee on Ecumenical and Interreligious Affairs brings her up by name in the directive in what can only be seen as an attempt to paint her in a negative light. This is what the bishops had to say about her. Carrie Prejean Bowler, a recent convert to Catholicism, sparked widespread controversy when she disputed that blaming Jews for Jesus's death is anti-Semitic. This is literally what the Bible says. This is literally what the Bible says. I mean, the Bible says the Jews killed Jesus in very plain language, right? The blood is upon their heads, right? This is literally what the scriptures teach. Anyway, so I don't know why they're pushing back on this, but they said, no, this is actually anti-Semitism, according to the United States Council of Catholic Bishops. So anyway, defended public figures accused of promoting anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, declared that Catholics do not embrace Zionism. So they're pushing back on this. She's declaring Catholics don't embrace Zionism. This is a bad thing. We can't be having people running around saying Catholics aren't Zionists. We need them to be Zionists. And repeatedly pressed Jewish witnesses on Israel's actions in Gaza. Now, again, the USCCB does not necessarily represent the entirety of the hierarchs of the Roman Catholic Church. And in fact, most Roman Catholics in the United States don't like these guys. I mean, they're always talking about like Martin Luther King Day and all this other stuff. Kwanzaa, they did a defense of Kwanzaa not that long ago. They're always coming up with some crazy stuff, but this is the United States Council of Catholic Bishops. So this would be representative of what the American hierarchs basically think. Citing media personalities for making misleading statements on church teaching. The memo provides 4 arguments for pastors, citing magisterial and non-magisterial sources. So this is a proof text for priests to oppose Carrie Prejean. So the United States Council of Catholic Bishops, rather than supporting their own persecuted church member, rather than supporting Carrie Prejean, who's very devout Roman Catholic, right? Granted, we think she should become Orthodox. All right, all the cool Roman Catholics, look, this is our way of showing affection. When we tell you to become Orthodox, it's just because we like you. That's it. Okay. So become Orthodox now. But anyway, yeah. So this is ridiculous. Their own hierarchs aren't standing up for pushing back against, what is pretty obvious historically, teaching in the Roman Catholic Church that they are not Zionists. They're saying, actually, we have to push back against this. So anyway, they provide, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm just going to show you how ridiculous this is. They provide arguments against the statement the Jews didn't kill Jesus, or the Jews killed Jesus. No, priests, United States priests, we have to teach the opposite of this. This is what the bishops are telling the priests. You must teach the opposite of this. We have to say the Jews didn't kill Jesus. You can't say Jews killed Jesus. You have to say the Jews didn't. It's like some other thing, right? It's like the Romans or something. And look, they cite Nostra Aetate, just like I said at the beginning. Okay, people say this council doesn't have any like real world ramification. It absolutely does. All over. We just saw who is that one gentleman, the very nice ex-Muslim guy that had left he'd left Islam. And he made that video talking about his bishop said that he shouldn't be evangelizing Muslims because they have the same God. So, I mean, we see this real life ramifications of Vatican II. It's insane. Second point here, God's covenant with the Jewish people has not been revoked, but continues. So the USCCB is talking about dual covenant theology. This is what they want to teach on the ground for the Roman Catholics. That is not good at all. So you want to make Roman Catholicism dispensational evangelicalism. This is insane, dude. Absolutely insane. Point number 3. Yeah, and look, they're like going through and they're citing like the gifts and calling of God are irrevocable. And then citing Pope Pius and all these, trying to make an argument that so on and so forth. Anyway, argument 3. Catholics can appreciate the religious attachment that the Jewish people have to the land of Israel, but interpret the reemergence in 1948 of a Jewish state in a historical rather than theological context. So they're trying to make some nuance and saying, oh, it's not decreed by God that they receive this land, but also they deserve this land. And you cannot, push back on their right to have this land. Argument 4, the church condemns hatred. You can't be anti-Semitic. You can't be yada, 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 yada. And again, anti-Semitism is defined by them as anti-Zionism. This is actually the ADL's definition, and this is what they're using. This is what Carrie Prejean was pushing back against, by the way, when she was ousted by the Religious Liberty Commission. She said anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Stop conflating the two. And as soon as she made that statement, she was kicked off the commission. We actually have started to see people get arrested for anti-Zionist, quote unquote, anti-Semitic remarks or even memes. I saw a guy got arrested in, was it Wisconsin? or Michigan or something. There was some sheriff that a guy photoshopped a Star of David on his forehead, and the sheriff went and arrested the freaking guy, dude. This is in the United States. What are we, the United Kingdom now? What are we, Canada now? What are we, communist Russia now? What are we doing? Are we just tossing people in the gulag for being anti-Israel? This is insane. This is where we've gotten to. And this is why this is so important for us to call this out. And by the way, okay, in case you're watching, right, you want to come for old Clevey next, listen, I'm not anti-Semitic. I have Jewish people reach out all the time interested in Orthodoxy. I had one just last week, and we had a good conversation. I had one the week prior. Okay? So stop using that as an excuse to persecute people who have differing opinions on whether or not we should go and die for Israel. How about that? Okay. Maybe you should stop, persecuting people and sending them to prison for not wanting to send our children to die in a war that we didn't sign up for. How about that? But anyway, so this is insane right here. And there's more that I want to show you on this subject, because not only is it the USCCB that started talking about and condemning Carrie Prejean, okay? Not only was it the USCCB, it was also freaking Bishop Barron, okay? Bishop Barron replied to her. Let me see if I can find my bookmark of this. Hold on. I got so many bookmarks for today's show. It's insane. I just get like back to back crazy news, dude. Give me just a second. Here you go. All right. So 2 things I'm going to show you. So this is a response of 2 Roman Catholic hierarchs to one of their own being persecuted by the U.S. government, kicked off the Religious Liberty Commission for not holding to Zionism. Okay. This is the response. She's calling out for these people to help, right? She's saying, please, bishops, please let them know this is not okay. We have to protect our religious liberty in the United States. We do not want them to infringe on our rights. We have to be able to advocate for this. Otherwise, they're going to come for everybody that is anti-Zionist, and they're going to do what that sheriff did to that guy that made the stupid Star of David meme. Put him in jail. We're going right back to the COVID era restrictions. But what's the response that Carrie gets from the hierarchs? Bishop Barron right here. Cardinal Dolan, by the way, chimes in and says, below is a statement my brother Bishop Barron, a colleague on the Presidential Commission of Religious Liberty, recently issued. I agree wholeheartedly. So keep in mind, this is Cardinal Dolan co-signing Bishop Barron's statement. What was Bishop Barron's statement? He throws her under the freaking bus so he could keep his position on the Religious Liberty Commission. He throws her to the wolves. Absolute disgusting betrayal. I want to be charitable to the Roman Catholics, but when I saw this made me so mad. I DM'd Joe Kent. I was like, dude, I'm mad. I'm kind of ticked off right now that this guy, this bishop, who's supposed to be protecting his people, throws her to the freaking wolves. This is what he has to say. Over the past several weeks, Carrie Prejean Bowler had complained that she was removed from the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty because of her Catholic beliefs. And she called out myself and other Catholic members of the commission for not defending her. Yeah, asking for you to raise your voice in support instead of, pretending it didn't happen. This is absurd. I shouldn't have to defend my own fellow Catholics. This is absurd. I should not have to defend my own fellow Catholics. My job is to do interviews. My job is to get money from the U.S. government for bringing in refugees. Ridiculous. Miss Prejean Bowler was not dismissed for her religious convictions, but rather her behavior at a gathering of the commission last month, browbeating witnesses, aggressively asserting her point of view, hijacking the meetings for her own political purposes. The Catholic position on matters of Zionism, to which I fully subscribe, is as follows. Okay, I'm going to read this in a second, because you're about to see some insanity right here. But he's making up this narrative that the reason she was kicked off of this commission was for being like too aggressive or something. The video is out there. She was not aggressive at all. The thing that she said was, hey, why don't we stop conflating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism? How about that? That's it. Period. Point blank. And she says, as a Roman Catholic, I can't ascribe to that. I can't. I'm sorry. These are my religious views. You brought me onto this commission. These are my religious views. This is what the Roman Catholic Church teaches. And Bishop Barron says, no, this is actually not what the Roman Catholic Church teaches. It's fine to conflate anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. In fact, that's what I want, so I can keep my position. Whatever they want, that's what I want. Anyway, I'll be a little more charitable, but let's see what he has to say here, because this unironically makes me really mad. Okay. All right. The Catholic position on matters of Zionism, to which I fully subscribe, is as follows. All forms of anti-Semitism are to be unequivocally condemned. This is a huge statement, not to be taken lightly, because the subject at hand is anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism. So to oppose Israel's false war in Iran, sending our young American men and women to go die. Women shouldn't be fighting in wars, but to send our men and women to go die for Israel, if you oppose that, you're anti-Semitic. You're going against Catholic teaching. You have to be willing to be cannon fodder for Benjamin Netanyahu, or else we're going to put you in jail. How about that? Let's do this. Anyway, the state of Israel has a right to exist. He's saying this is the teaching of the Roman Catholic Church, that the state of Israel has a right to exist. You cannot, if you were to say, look, maybe, just maybe, Christians should have the land of Israel. Maybe we should have control of the holy sites. Oh, you're going against Roman Catholic teaching, by the way. Okay, let's throw all the Crusades in the trash bin. Okay, let's throw all the teachings of the previous popes in the trash bin. They're all anti-Semitic. Don't you know this? Those previous popes, they're all anti-Semitic. Everybody in the Crusades, they're all anti-Semitic. Oh, you know that like defending Jerusalem thing? That's anti-Semitism. That's supposed to go to the people who say Jesus is boiling in poop in hell. That's where it's supposed to go. So if you're to deny Israel has a right, right? This is an unalienable right. All right. You cannot oppose this, according to Bishop Barron. If you were to oppose this, you're anti-Semitic and you are in opposition of Roman Catholic teaching. This is the state of the Roman Catholic Church today. The hierarchy opposing the lay people, the hierarchy defending Zionism, the hierarchy saying if you were to question the unalienable right for Israel to occupy these lands, have complete control over the holy sites, this is anti-Semitism. This is absolutely absurd. It is a spit in the face of every ancestor that they've ever had. I mean, this is insane. So people died in the Crusades for nothing because they were just going against Catholic teaching. This is absurd. And this is a bishop. But granted, I don't know if you remember this. This is the same bishop that told Ben Shapiro that Jesus is just the privileged path to salvation. So he's been kind of kissing the ring of the Zionists for quite some time. But anyway, the modern state of Israel does not represent. Oh, so he's careful about this part. He says the modern nation state of Israel does not represent the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. So he's saying you can't be a strict dispensationalist. Hence, it does not stand beyond criticism. Wait a minute. This is a contradictory statement. It does not stand beyond criticism, but the state has a right to exist. One of these things is not like the other, right? This is insane. So he says on one side of his mouth, he's being mealy-mouthed here. The state of Israel has a right to exist. You can't criticize the fact that it has a right to exist. But it's also not the fulfillment of biblical prophecies and doesn't stand beyond criticism. The real criticism he's talking about is like Benjamin Netanyahu blowing up a hospital full of kids or something. right? Let's be real. That's what he's talking about here. He's not talking about the broader theological claims, or rather historical claims about Roman Catholic teaching. If Miss Prejean Bowler were dismissed for holding these beliefs, it's difficult to understand why I'm still a member of the commission. Maybe because you say Israel has a complete right to exist, and going against this is going against Roman Catholic teaching. Maybe that's why. Absolutely insane. Oh, it's difficult to understand why I'm still a member of this commission. Maybe because you told Ben Shapiro Jesus is just the privileged route to salvation. Maybe that's why. Anyway, to paint herself as a victim of anti-Catholic prejudice or to claim that her religious liberty has been denied is simply preposterous. It's just signed off by cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church, signed off by the United States Council of Catholic Bishops. Absolutely insane. And this is supposed to be one of the conservative bishops. Complete betrayal of their people, throwing Carrie Prejean under the bus. Absolutely freaking despicable. Lord have mercy on the Roman Catholic Church. And may God open the eyes of people who are still in this system to realize orthodoxy is the truth. I wholeheartedly believe orthodoxy is the truth. So I'm not going to shy away from saying that, okay? If you're Roman Catholic and you're based, I want you to become Orthodox because I like you, but also I want to see you in heaven. So, all right, let's see this. Catholic Church is effectively as Zionist and dispensationalist as the evangelical church at this point. They decanonized Simon of Trent after Vatican II, the only church to ever lose a saint. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. I'll have to do some research into that. That is an interesting thing to check out. Interesting.
That's going to send you straight to hell, amen.
They decanonized a saint? That doesn't even make sense. Is that true? Chat, is that true? Let me know. Bishop Barron, I didn't know he was Israeli first. Yeah, apparently, as well as the USCCB, who made this whole directive against Carrie Prejean. B. Sirach gifted one Cleave to Antiquity membership. Thank you so much. I'll be doing a members video soon, later this week. So sometime this week, I'll do another members only video. So keep an eye on that. I have a couple of interesting videos coming up. This Thursday, I'm going to have Bishop Emilianos on the show to talk about the great schema, because he was tonsured a schema monk, as was his spiritual father. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about nepsis, so watchfulness and things like this. So if you have questions and you want to ask the bishop, an Orthodox bishop, not one of the Zionist Roman Catholic bishops, an Orthodox bishop, if you want to ask him questions, tune in Thursday at 8 p.m. and I'll have him on the show and we'll be discussing theology and other things like this. Yeah, well, John Henry Weston says, disgusting. Cardinal Dolan now joins Bishop Barron in bashing Carrie Prejean. How has Zionism bewitched these men that they can't that they refuse to stand with their brother bishops in the Holy Land? Yeah, because guess what? Cardinal Pizzaballa signed the agreement saying that you can't be Zionist. So what? They're like backstabbing Cardinal Pizzaballa? Or they think he doesn't mean what he says there. Or they just think it's a nonsense piece of paper that they don't have to follow. The Orthodox Church has always been anti-Zionist. I have never met a pro-Zionist priest in the Orthodox Church. I've never met or heard of a pro-Zionist bishop, so on and so forth. I mean, I can show you multiple different clips of our priests, so on and so forth, discussing the topic of Zionism. We've got Father Josiah, who did a number of talks on this. Father Spiridon, all sorts of people. Father Peter Hears just posted about it, sharing Father Spiridon Bailey sermon, homily. So yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, we even had the Patriarch of Jerusalem sign that document. I think I had one more thing on that subject. Oh yeah, here's that sheriff that's arrested that guy. Edited anti-Semitic photo targeting sheriff leads to arrest. I don't know how to say the name. Bouchard warns of rising anti-Semitism. So that's the sheriff, I guess.
I give you this by way of example. Some pond scum felt empowered and emboldened enough to put this picture of me up to try to threaten and intimidate me, which of course he didn't do because I signed up for this.
Yeah, apostate prophet is not clergy. Apostate prophet is not clergy. Talking about clergy, dude. Bishops, clergy. I didn't say random layman. I haven't seen El Pitaforos make any pro-Israel statements. You'd have to cite that for me.
And by the way, the person that did this said a bunch of terrible things, not just against me, but against a lot of groups and individuals, who, by the way, was arrested today in Wisconsin. My point is this, though. If this person is emboldened and empowered enough or feels...
Yeah, he's in there. The people feel a little too emboldened with their free speech. We got to start hammering down on that free speech thing. Otherwise, they're going to make weird memes with the Star of David on my forehead and give me the Jewish curls. We can't be having that. They got to go straight to prison. We have to send people to prison for making fun of me because I'm so insecure. This is basically what this guy's saying. And he wants to do this so that people feel the pressure of living under a communist system. This guy was probably rejoicing during COVID when we had the lockdowns and people were going to jail for stepping outside. You remember that during the COVID lockdowns? It was absolutely insane. People were going to jail left and right. So this guy just arrested somebody for making this stupid meme. And this is what people like Carrie Prejean are pushing back against. This huge government overreach, conflating the stupidest things. Like, if this is enough to send you to jail, you don't think like criticizing the nation state of Israel or the war that our president is campaigning for and actually prosecuting right now for the nation state of Israel, you don't think those kinds of things are going to send you to jail? This is where they start. Stupid meme, something so benign. We're not the UK. We are not Canada. The buck has to stop here with this. This guy needs to be relieved of his position. He's an elected official, by the way. I looked this up. He's an elected official. He is back up for re-election in 2029. But they need to write the people who give him his funding because he is responsible to a board that gives him his funding. So if enough people reached out to the board, this guy would probably be pressured into losing his position or having restricted funding.
Safe enough to do this for me. What does he do to a kid? What does he do to a Jewish family walking down the street? And that's because of the normalization of this, watching this on television and saying, okay, I feel empowered enough that I can do this. Well, A, you can't. And B, if you think you can do it to somebody that's in law enforcement, again, what are you going to do in an alley or in a street?
If you think you can do this to somebody in law enforcement, he's like too big for his britches. He's like, look, I'm the sheriff around here. You can't be putting no curls on me and put the Star of David on my head.
To a Jewish family or a kid walking down the street? We say no.
Yeah, what are you gonna do to a Jewish family or someone walking down the street? You're gonna take a big blue marker and put the Star of David on their forehead. This is ridiculous. It's completely a delusional, unfounded claim. Anyway, I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna go and make stupid meme edits like this of people and put the big Star of David on their head or whatever. But I'm also 30-something years old. All right. The people that they're arresting, I'm sure, are like teenagers or young adults, maybe early 20s, still kind of stupid, making memes on the internet, and they're ruining their entire lives because their fifis are hurt. This is insane. This is insane. But you know what? You can't put the Star of David on a sheriff's head. But what you can do is go and genocide a whole population of people and replace all the Christians in Palestine as well. That's fine. It's no big deal. But the buck stops at putting the Star of David on a sheriff's head. That's too far, guys. You can't be doing all that now. All right. I want to see if I have anything else on this Carrie Prejean thing. That really riled me up, dude. That really frustrated me. I can't believe. Well, I can believe that Bishop Barron was a weasel and threw under the bus. Oh, here you go. We have E. Michael Jones calling out Bishop Barron here. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah,
I'll read it. You got it. I'll read it.
Yeah,
okay.
let's do it.
All right. Over the past several weeks, Carrie Prejean Bowlers complained that she was removed from the presidential committee.
That's what people were doing, Joe. People were mass reposting that image all over the place. Yeah, absolutely. What are they going to do? They're going to arrest like everybody on X? This is ridiculous.
Commission on Religious Liberty because of her Catholic beliefs. And she called out myself. Sorry, Your Excellency, he called out me. Okay, don't overcorrect here. Called out myself and other Catholic members of the commission for not defending her. This is absurd. Mrs. Prejean Bowler was not dismissed for her religious convictions, but rather for her behavior at a gathering of the commission last month.
And this is him reading the statement by Bishop Barron.
Beating witnesses, aggressively asserting her point of view, hijacking the meeting for her own political purposes. The Catholic position on matters of Zionism, to which I fully subscribe, is as follows. All forms of anti-Semitism are to be equivocal. Wait a minute.
You got to add the Trent Dougherty clip on your soundboard. If I did that, all my live streams would get taken down. He freaked out, dude. He dropped the F-bomb. He dropped all sorts of stuff, man. That was an absolutely insane debate. I could not use that as a soundboard.
Am I missing something here? All forms of anti-Semitism are to be unequivocally condemned. The state of Israel has a right to exist. Oh, wait, these are ADL talking points. But
that's exactly it. He's copying the ADL definition, not Roman Catholic teaching. He's talking about the ADL. So he's defending what the ADL says, not what the Roman Catholic Church says. Apparently now, so is the USCCB, though. So Catholic teaching is ADL teaching, according to the USCCB now.
The modern nation of Israel does not represent the fulfillment of biblical prophecy and hence does not stand beyond criticism. Okay. Let's go through this once again. All forms of anti-Semitism are to be unequivocally condemned. What do you mean by anti-Semitism? What do you mean by all forms? This term has not been defined. The Catholic Church has not defined this term. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. So what is it? Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Criticizing the nation state of Israel, genociding people, is that anti-Semitism? I mean, because if you were to ask people like Mark Levin, he would say yes. If you were to ask people that are whispering in Trump's ear right now, Laura Loomer, she would say yes. Sheriff's badge is literally a Star of David. New conspiracy theory unleashed.
Semitism now in America, as we're speaking, means any speech Jews don't like. It's that simple. This is not what the Father Catholic Church.
Spitting facts. Spitting facts. That's exactly it. It was like, who's that guy, Joe Kent, that just resigned, right? Mark Levin said it was anti-Semitic for him to resign. It was anti-Semitic for him to resign his position. So it's anything that they just don't like.
Church fathers had in mind when in 1965, if you asked them, okay, what was the definition then? It was racial biological determinism. Okay, I condemn that.
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Some vitamin K for you.
Vitamin K. I said it's found in yogurt and alfalfa sprouts. Vitamin K.
Know my record here on racism. Okay, I am completely in agreement with that. If by anti-Semitism you mean biological determinism.
You're a catechumen. Why do you teach about orthodoxy? I don't talk about theology unless I have a priest present. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, man.
If by anti-Semitism you mean criticism of Jews,
priest or other qualified teacher, somebody who is qualified in the field.
No. You have no right to condemn Catholics criticizing Jews. Jesus Christ criticized Jews. Did you get that, Bishop Barron? Get back to me, okay? And explain to me how Jesus Christ did something wrong in chapter 8 of John's gospel by telling the Jews their father was Satan. Did Jesus Christ commit the sin of anti-Semitism there, Your Excellency? Get back to me.
Yeah. He doesn't do that. He has priests, bishops, and baptized apologists on. Yeah, well, I mean, this next Thursday, I'm going to have Bishop Emilianos on. So if you want to stay tuned for that, he will be talking about theology. I do news reporting when I do solo streams, news reporting. So you can, yeah.
Really need to know the answer to this question.
Thank you for your question, my friend.
Okay. Or to be unequivocal, the state of Israel has a right to exist. Where is this in Denzinger? Who said this? What part of Catholic theology are you drawing on, Your Excellency, to say the state of Israel has a right to exist? Does Ireland have the right to exist?
Yeah, exactly. That is a huge point. Does Ireland have the right to exist? Yeah. Cleve should get EMJ on the show. Sure, why not? Why not? Would you guys even want to see that, though? What would we even talk about? We talk about Zionism some more? That's the thing. There are people that I like, but I'm like, what would I even discuss with you about? Carrie Prejean stuff? I feel like it's been covered, you know. I mean, we're currently covering it, but what more would having him on really add? You guys would have to let me know.
Okay, what country does Palestine have the right to exist? Does Gaza have the right to exist? Then if Gaza has the right to exist, why does Israel have the right to destroy Gaza? What does this have to do with Zionism? You've got a completely ADL version of Zionism here. Zionism is racial supremacy. Zionism.
Would love for you to debate Mahler TC. Who's that? Oh, is that the dude that's been hanging out with JP Uncut with your father present? I'm not doing any debates right now. He will surely get you back to being a Protestant. Yeah, right. Sure thing, buddy.
Is the claim that Jews can kill you if they don't.
Listen, no offense, but there is literally zero Protestant apologists out there that make any kind of coherent arguments. I would know. I've been on all of the major Protestant apologetic shows. Okay. I did debates as a Protestant. I debated people with PhDs as a Protestant. I know Protestant theology. Okay. That was my entire background. You think some random dude who does live streams is going to be able to convince me otherwise? This is insane. You guys are ridiculous. Debate a messenger of truth. He will absolutely get you back to being a Protestant. Yeah, absolutely insane.
Like you, Zionism is the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. Wake up to the reality of the situation and don't give these ridiculous ADL talking points of Israel has the right to exist.
Actually, according to the Orthodox Ethos interview, top Protestant apologist, okay, number one, okay. Judging by the responses afterwards, every single major Protestant YouTube channel made a response video to my conversion. Every single one. I thought that was crazy, dude. Well, like people were like, dude, are you like stressed out? Everybody is lashing out. I'm like, I completely expected it because I had been talking to all of these people prior to this. I've been on all their shows, almost every single one of them, except for Jordan Cooper and the weird guys like a messenger of truth or whatever.
Okay, but the modern nation of Israel does not represent the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. I agree completely with you, and hence does not stand beyond criticism. That is precisely my point. So let me point blank to Bishop Barron. Is it a sin to criticize Jews? Yes or no? Answer that question. Okay. It is difficult where if Miss Prejean Bowler were dismissed for holding these beliefs, it is difficult to understand why I am still a member of the commission. Well, obviously why. You don't criticize Jews.
You don't criticize Israel. You said literally, Bishop Barron literally said Jesus is just the privileged route to heaven. That's what he said. He said that in an interview with Ben Shapiro. When Ben Shapiro said, "Do you think I'm going to hell if I remain a religious Jew?" And Bishop Barron's answer was, Jesus is just the privileged route to heaven. So yeah, I mean, you don't criticize them. You don't even criticize the religion, let alone nation state of Israel, so on and so forth. Now, again, anyway, we'll see what else he has to say. We'll wrap
You
up.
don't criticize Zionism. You go along with this corrupt Jewish-controlled regime. That's obvious. That's why you're still on the commission. Okay? To paint herself as a victim of anti-Catholic prejudice or to claim that her liberty has been denied is simply preposterous. No, wait a minute. No, go back and see what the rabbis are saying. They are saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism.
And that's exactly what they're conflating. That is exactly what they want the United States to start punishing people for, by the way. In the state of Florida, they just passed anti-Semitism laws where you can actually get expelled from your university for opposing the nation state of Israel. So they're already passing these things into law and nobody is noticing. They are setting up for one of the biggest crackdowns that you're going to see. They're lining everything up for it. And the bishops of the Roman Catholic Church are just tagging along for the ride.
They are saying this is precisely the point that we Catholics are in right now. Ask Joe Kent. Okay, what we're
That's true. Father Stephen Young says the Catechism of the Catholic Church says Jews and Muslims are saved. Why expect different? That's true. Well, you know, the USCCB document that condemned Carrie Prejean for opposing Zionism cited Nostra Aetate as one of their justifications for condemning Carrie Prejean. So you're absolutely right, Father. That's exactly what the logical entailment is. I mean, it's relativism at this point.
doing here is that we as Catholics must submit, we must accept this anti-Catholic ideology known as Christian Zionism or Zionism. This is completely antithetical to what we believe as Catholics. And don't try and redefine it to make it harmless sounding by saying that Israel has a right to exist. That is not the issue.
You can believe in Israel's right to defend themselves without being a Zionist, by the way. Nobody's saying that they don't have the right to defend themselves. If somebody's attacking you, you can defend yourself. But that's not what's going on here, okay? This is a genocide.
That is not the issue. Does Israel have the right to violate the fifth commandment? Try that one on for size. Does Israel have the right to kill men, women, and children, anyone they don't like? That's Zionism, and deal with the real issue and cut the bullshit.
Oh, he said a no-no word. It's over. Trent Horn's going to say he's going to hell now because he said a no-no word here. Yeah, that's wild. All right. Yeah, pump up the likes. Pump up the likes, guys. Come on. What are you doing here? All right. I think that was the last thing on that particular issue. But I mean, that's absolutely insane. So basically they threw them under the bus. They're defending Israel, throwing Roman Catholics under the bus to defend the nation state of Israel. Meanwhile, Bibi Netanyahu says statements like this about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and not a single peep, by the way. Bishop Barron and Cardinal Dolan took the time to call out a Roman Catholic laywoman for getting ousted from the Religious Liberty Campaign or Commission and saying, oh, she's saying the Roman Catholic Church teaches you can't be Zionist. That's not true. Yada, yada, yada. But do you think they correct Bibi Netanyahu when he says Jesus doesn't have any power over Genghis Khan, blaspheming our Lord and Savior? No, not a peep.
Also wrote The Lessons of History, very brief, 100-page book, in which he said, well, history proves that, unfortunately and unhappily, Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths.
Yeah. So basically it says Jesus has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Okay. So this is Bibi Netanyahu. He's an atheist. Of course, he thinks everything is just force and violence. Yeah. I mean, it does. But why is nobody calling him? Like, why are, I mean, we already kind of know Nostra Aetate, Vatican II, they're all worshiping the same God, so on and so forth. But this guy's literally an atheist, right? But you can't call out his, blasphemy in the world stage. But you have time to call out Carrie Prejean for opposing Zionism. You know who else defended this? I saw Christians, Protestant Christians defending this. You know who else defended Bibi Netanyahu's statement here? They went out of their way to do a 45-minute stream defending this dude's statements. Let me see if I can find that video. Somebody I actually like, but I don't know, man. Maybe not so much anymore. We'll see. This is a mess. Let me pull it up. Here you go. Apologetics Roadshow, David Wood. Did Netanyahu insult Jesus? Question mark. He defends Netanyahu for 30 minutes here. So not 45 minutes, about 30 minutes, 26 minutes here. Defending Bibi Netanyahu blaspheming our Lord and Savior. Yeah. Ridiculous, dude. So, I mean, these people, I have no kind words to say, so I'm not going to say anything at all. Just, I think it speaks for itself. People are defending a literal atheist Jewish warlord committing a genocide and throwing our Lord and Savior under the bus. Lord of mercy. All right, I'm going to dive into another story because this one's actually going to rile me up a bit. So let's get into, I want to talk about the Pope Leo Pachamama situation. You guys seen anything about this yet? It wasn't really reported super widely, but we all know about the Pope Francis Pachamama situation, where Pope Francis, basically blessed a Pachamama statue, so on and so forth. But some images have been circulating that have been found from a retreat in 1995 of the up-and-coming, then priest, now Pope Leo, kneeling before, doing prostrations before a Pachamama idol with food offerings all around it. I don't know if you guys have seen these photos yet, but here you go. Here's the original black and whites that were circulating. So you've got Prevost there, the soon-to-be Pope Leo. This is in 1995 at a retreat where they're worshiping Pachamama with a bunch of, I forget exactly where they were. Was this Argentina, maybe? Well, I have an article here, so we'll pull it up and read through it. But here he is there. Here's a color version of this. All right, the color version, I seen the video, by the way. This is from a video slideshow. This image is taken from a newspaper clipping of that same color photo, but it's black and white because it's in the newspaper. This is from a color slideshow montage from these people's actual YouTube channel from years and years and years ago. But I guess it was a re-upload of it in like 2000 something. And then it gets worse. He's not just kneeling. He's doing prostrations. Look, he's getting on his hands right here to prostrate in front of this Pachamama idol. He's doing prostrations before Pachamama. They say it's Peru. Okay, maybe. That's probably true. So Pope Leo worshiping a false idol, worshiping this Pachamama. Some people were just looking at this because this was the original photo. They were saying, oh, he's just reading this book in front of him. This was the cope. This was the cope. They were saying he's just reading this book. He's not doing anything bad. He's just reading this book. He's not worshiping Pachamama. They didn't bother to. They're plugging their ears. La 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 la. I'm not going to look into this any further. He's literally getting down on his face to do prostrations before this Pachamama idol. No, Pachamama is basically like Earth as a goddess, and they do human sacrifices to this Earth goddess. Come to find out. Anyway, we'll dive into some of this. I'm going to pull up the article here. Let's look at the LifeSite News article, because this is a little shorter than the other one. Exclusive to LifeSite. Oh, good grief. Ads. Exclusive to LifeSite News, the explosive revelation will feature prominently and yada, 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 yada. Anyway. The story was first brought to light by Father Murr, who has spent months meticulously compiling documentation for his upcoming book on Leo. 3 Augustinian priests have now independently confirmed to Father Murr that Robert Prevost is clearly visible among the kneeling participants in the central photograph, although none of the 3 were present at the 1995 ritual themselves. Talking about Father Murr and his co-workers, colleagues. They immediately and unmistakably recognized their confrere from the published image. And there it is it's not a newspaper, it's like a book. There you go. Celebration of the ritual to Pachamama. That's literally what it says. Celebration of the ritual to Pachamama. Mother Earth, Madre Tierra, Mother Earth. Lord have mercy. Yes, it is Peru. Okay. In Peru. So, yeah. Oh, I don't see a Pachamama here. Literally what it says. This is a celebration of a ritual to Pachamama. And he's doing prostrations at this Pachamama ritual. Anyway, the image appears in the official proceedings of, I can't pronounce that. Anyway, published in a book I can't pronounce as well. The official caption beneath the photo of kneeling participants reads, celebration of the rite. Sorry, not ritual. Celebration of the rite of Pachamama, Mother Earth, which is an agricultural rite offered by the cultures of the South Andean region in Peru and Bolivia. The same volume includes a large group photograph, explicitly captioned, anyway, placing the future Pope squarely among the attendees of an event that openly celebrated Pachamama ritual as part of its eco-theology program. So this is like global warming nonsense. Pray to Pachamama to prevent the global warming. All right. You're blessing the ice. You're doing all this stuff. You saw that. He did the ice cube blessing. All right. He's done a bunch of stuff on global warming, even as Pope. Well, this is what he was doing. Right. So what is he? Is he serving the spirit of this demon that they're worshiping, that's concerned with the nature or whatever, worshiping nature as an idol? All right. Anyway, Father Murr told Faith and Reason, the man who is now Leo was documented kneeling in a pagan earth goddess ritual and an official gathering of his own religious order. So this was an Augustinian meeting. The implications for the direction of the church under this pontificate are profound. Yeah, because if he's an apostate, then you have an apostate pope, right? Then according to their own theology, right? If he's a idolater, unrepentant idolater, what are the ramifications of this for them? Huge. This is what people are saying. Everybody's saying this. Everybody's saying the implications are huge. This is your time to become Orthodox. Everybody's saying this. Become Orthodox immediately. Anyway, so you get this. Another image from the book shows, in addition to the Pachamama ceremony, the participants celebrated a mass. Prevost, Leo, can be seen standing and holding hands with other participants in the same spot where the Pachamama ritual took place. There you go. They're all holding hands, and they're doing a mass. After the pagan ritual. They're all doing a mass together. So, yeah. So Pope Leo, the future Pope Leo, then Robert Prevost, was worshiping Pachamama in Peru. And this is all over the place. Nobody's covering it, by the way. Have you noticed this? Nobody is covering it. LifeSite's covering it. They cover everything. But nobody is covering this story. Have you seen this? Mainstream media news, not a peep. Big name Roman Catholic YouTube channels, not a peep. Cover it up. Didn't happen. Oh, he's just reading a book. All these types of things. Meanwhile, you know what's going on in the parishes? This is what is going on in the parishes. A while ago, Roman Catholic and OCIA sent me this picture from his local parish, or I guess he was formerly in OCIA. Apparently, when he asked the priest what this was, the priest told him this was Pachamama. This is from an email I got, me personally. Hey, you asked me to send the statue of Pachamama in my local Catholic parish. Here it is. You can also note they have black Jesus up there with her. So, and they carved Jesus's face to look like a Native American. They made him look like super Native American here, but they got the Pachamama idol up there in the church. They got the Pachamama, and this is what the priest is saying. This is Pachamama. Absolutely absurd. So you get the black Jesus and a Pachamama. This is what's going on in Roman Catholic parishes. Oh, the Pope Leo did it, so it's okay then. Pope Leo worshipped Pachamama, so it's okay if we have Pachamama idols in our churches now, right? You think the stuff that the Pope doesn't have any trickle-down effect to what happens in the parish life of the Roman Catholic Church? You're deluded if you think that's the case. Pope Francis literally did a blessing of a Pachamama idol. And what did the Pope splainers go around saying? They said, oh, it's not really Pachamama. That's what they said. That was their argument. It's not really Pachamama. It's something else. This was like whatever. Or Pope Francis just didn't know what it was. And then literally a week later, he said about this controversy surrounding the Pachamama idol that I blessed. And he confirmed it. He knew it was Pachamama. But this is what's going on in the parishes. So you think the stuff doesn't trickle down? It's insane. Pope Prevost perceived to be prostrating in Peruvian Pachamama llama drama. So true. So true, King. It's over. It's over. We get the Pope worshiping pagan earth goddesses. But still, some of the bishops came out to defend Pope Leo. Okay. They gave a robust defense. Not everyone was silent on this. Okay. They gave a robust defense of Pachamama, or not of Pachamama, but of Pope Leo doing this. Okay. Let's see what they had to say. All right, I'm going to share this screen with you. This is from Info Vaticana. A married bishop on the controversy of Prevost photo. We can speak to Pachamama as we speak to the saints. Oh, Lord of mercy. What the? That is no good. So we can speak to Pachamama as we speak to the saints. Anyway, let's see what he has to say about it. Ronaldo Non was bishop of Caravelli, Peru from 2017 until 2024 when he hung up his habits to marry a woman. Well, at least it was a woman. There you go. That's an improvement. For years, he held responsibilities in ecclesiastical spheres and coincided with Robert Prevost when the latter was bishop of Chiclayo. Okay, so I guess he was serving side by side with him or close. At that time, Non was directing Caritas. I can't even say that. Caritas of the country, while Prevost was a member of the same organization. So they were colleagues. Non is published in Religion Digital, a explanation of the images from the Pachamama rite in which Robert Prevost participated in 1995. And which was revealed by LifeSite. Amid the thunderous media silence of the most clerical Catholicism, the analysis emerges, which beyond the disqualifications against Info Vaticana is worth examining. The same point, or the starting point of Non's article, is clear and without ambiguity. The young missionary Robert Prevost, although at the time he was 40 years old, did participate in this Congress on Ecology and Theology in 1995. So he confirms this is Robert Prevost, future Pope Leo, and he did participate in this Pachamama craziness. Okay. Anyway, in the context of a ceremony to Mother Earth and knelt down. This is what he says. He says he did participate. He did kneel down. Pope splainers, it's over for you. Literally confirmed, okay, by somebody who has worked side by side with him during this time period, just about. Anyway, Non does not dispute the existence of the photographs nor the context in which they were taken. He acknowledges the participation, acknowledges the gesture, and acknowledges the ritual nature of the act. From there, he introduces his interpretation, which consists of asserting, I cannot see any worship of Pachamama as a goddess, either from Prevost or from any of the attendees. Okay, so they're saying they're not worshiping her as a goddess. They're just showing Pachamama like veneration or something. Non describes the content of the rite precisely by pointing out, we see an interreligious act where which is representative of Andean culture, makes a payment to the earth, and offering and a dialogue with the earth. Don't worry, they're not worshiping Pachamama as a goddess. They're making offerings to the earth mother and having a dialogue with her. Can't you see the difference? They're just making offerings to the earth mother. No big deal, dude. Don't you know this is totally chill? You can talk to Pachamama. It's no big deal. This is a part of the positive faith of the Roman Catholic Church. Anyway, he adds that in that worldview, Andean culture maintains certain pagan beliefs, such as the fact Earth has a soul like a person, just like water, a hill, a tree. And he maintains today it is seen rather as a creature of God with certain personality. On that basis, he builds a core of his argument, which says, respecting the earth as a being with a soul. So this is what they're doing in this ritual. Respecting earth as a being with a soul. Anyway, Pachamama is the earth, or better said, the soul of the earth. Therefore, we can speak to her. This is what the bishop is saying. He's saying Pachamama is the soul of the earth, so we can speak to her. This is freaking bananas. This is insane. This is what this guy is saying. He's saying you can speak to Pachamama. Pachamama's real, and Pachamama is the soul of the earth. This is his defense of Pope Leo, his colleague. He says we can speak to Pachamama. This is freaking nuts, dude. This is insane. We can speak to her as we speak to the saints. Good grief. We can kneel before her as before the saints, as long as we see her as a creature and not a goddess. What? What? This is nuts. The earth's soul is what he's saying. As long as you say she's created, it's no big deal. You can worship demons as long as you say they're created, okay? You call a demon uncreated, you're crossing a line there. What are you talking about? Oh my gosh. Non insists the decisive element is the intention of the subject and asserts intention is what matters. Yeah, the intention to make communications with the demon of the soul of the earth is the intention, and offering food and drink offerings to this demon. The gesture of prayer is not automatically worship. What about offering food and drink offerings? Nor is the gesture of kneeling. There you go. Perfect. There you go. Okay, great. So the popes, you can go and bow down before your demons. You can go and make food and drink offerings to these demons. And, according to these bishops here, it's not necessarily worship. This is the defense. They didn't come out and just say he didn't do it. They said, no, he did do it, but it's not worship. And actually, Pachamama's real and she's the soul of the earth. Oh, my goodness, bro. This is insane. So this was his defense. All right, anyway. In the Pachamama rite, the subject changes completely. The petition is not raised to God through another, but is directed to the earth, understood as an entity capable of giving. When food is buried, drink is poured, or goods are offered to the earth, expecting prosperity, protection, or fertility, a direct relationship is established between man and that which it is offered. The earth does not appear as a sign, nor as a reminder, nor as a creature that refers to God. How could Pachamama attain the beatific vision, but is the immediate recipient of the action? This is the people who wrote the article, not the bishop speaking. They're saying this is insane for this guy to hold. Anyway, I agree, but are we really surprised at this point? Are we really surprised at this point? It doesn't make any sense, dude. And Anthony Stein never misses. That is an amazingly tone-deaf response. He didn't worship the earth. He just made an offering to the earth, which has a soul and is a person. Bruh. Good grief, dude. I mean, imagine being a Roman Catholic pope-splainer at this point. Having to defend this. I mean, granted, I think nobody is defending it. They're just kind of keeping it quiet. They don't want to talk about it. Actually, Pine Sap did defend it. He said, anybody who believes this false information, you're a fool or whatever. He was defending it. Anyway, so quite a bit on that. All right. I think that's all I have on that particular thing. Maybe. Let me double check. Just a reminder, I'm going to be producing a little documentary where I had a bunch of people who converted to Orthodoxy from other faiths, whether it was Protestant, whether it was Mormon, atheists, so on and so forth, give their testimony as to why they converted to Orthodoxy or are inquiring or a catechumen, so on and so forth. I'll be editing those together, and I will probably have that out by this next week. That's my goal. So I thank everybody who participated in that, but that should be good. I felt like, we could use a little nice news, a little encouragement. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have on the Pachamama thing. Yeah, absolutely nuts. All right, let's talk about Trent Horn. Let's talk about the Trent Horn situation. I still have a bunch of news to go through, but let's go ahead and dive into this. Let me read the super chats first. Yeah, Mahler TC wants to refute you. Slide to JP Uncut whenever he's live with your father. I'm not doing debates right now, but Alex Soren might debate him, maybe, if he wants to dial into Alex Soren's show. I would love to do debates, but I'm trying to be obedient in that regard, so I'm not doing them. He handed out rosaries in a mosque, bro. He's based, bro. Please, bro. He's really trad, bro. Believe me, bro. Please. You know what's funny? Those weren't even rosaries. Those were not rosaries. Those were little medals that he handed out. They were not rosaries. But Pope Respecter published this lie, and it was circulated all over the place. I refuted him immediately. And he just continued on with the lie. He doesn't care. He's not an honest guy. Hey, Boomer, don't you know "fwa" is an F word? I don't think so, buddy. "Fwa," that is not an F word. So glad I'm out of the church. Lord have mercy. Hey, glory to God. Glory to God for your journey into Orthodoxy. All right. Let's talk about Mr. Trent Horn here. So before I say anything, I want to say this. I have no personal issue against Trent. I don't have any personal issue against him. Okay. When I've spoken to him in private in the past, he's been more than cordial. But these particular statements, these statements here are so egregious, I have to say something about it. Okay. These particular statements are so egregious, I have to say something about it. Let me make something else clear. Okay. I do not personally use profanity at all. Okay. In my personal life or on YouTube, you will be hard pressed to find any clip of me using profanity on this channel, so on and so forth. Okay. I just don't do it. It is not a sin that I personally struggle with. Okay. This is not a vice that I struggle with. This is not a habit that I struggle with. Let's put it that way. That doesn't make me any better than anyone else. I struggle with plenty of other stuff. Don't get me wrong. Okay. This is not one of them. That being said, I am not going to go around and be the potty word police and tell people, oh, you said a no word. Like, and go and blast people for using potty words on YouTube. Okay. This is ridiculous. This is what is this, baby time? But he takes it a step further. He says they're going to go to hell for doing so. The context of this clip, I should just pull up the whole video. I'll play you this, but then I do want to pull up the whole video because I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll play a larger part of it. He basically says, okay, since Jay said F you, all right, since Jay said F you, this means he has anger in his heart, and this anger in his heart is going to send him to hell. And everybody who follows his content. But he didn't stop there. He said Andrew Wilson, who also uses potty words, has anger in his heart and is going to go to hell for this as well. Let's take a look at what he has to say here, and then I'll go find the video and I'll play a broader clip.
I'm going to be blunt. If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me is that
he will not go to heaven.
Dyer, Wilson, and other commenters like them cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences. And that can lead to damnation for many of their followers. I'm going to be blunt.
So he talks about Jay Dyer, Andrew Wilson. He says they're leading their followers to hell, basically, because of the anger in their heart, and they're cultivating anger. All right. Because he uses potty words. Let me go find the full video real quick, because I want to play a bigger portion of that, because he says more on this particular subject. Hold on. Let's see. All right. I'm going to play a little bit of a bigger piece of this.
If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven.
Oh, wait.
What concerns me is that Dyer learned to behave.
All right. Let's watch this clip here. I'm going to go back here to the Jay Dyer portion, and then we'll see what he has to say.
However, Andrew's response paled in comparison to others, especially Jay Dyer. In one part of my episode, I criticized Dyer for calling Talbert Swan Tilda Swinton. He wasn't being abused.
What a very small and minute thing to criticize someone over, by the way. Calling somebody Tilda Swinton. Is this really evil? Is this indicative of evil? Tilda Swinton. Somebody calls me I don't know, cleave to whatever, cleave to whatever. I've seen people call me cleave to iniquity, cleave to LARPing or whatever. Like, oh, that's evil. I'm going to make a whole video calling you out. He called me cleave to evil.
Abusive, but it is annoying and silly for someone who wants to publicly
and antiquity cleavage. That's not profanity, by the way. Okay, so don't go and make a clip and say he says he never uses profanity, but he said cleavage. It's not profanity. Okay.
defend the Christian faith on a large platform. But then Dyer said on X, Trent Horn virtue signals over me calling a fake black activist bishop a fake bishop. But I didn't say that. This is either a lie or an ignorant falsehood. So I told Jay, I accurately pointed out your embarrassing behavior, which in this case was calling Talbert Swan Tilda Swinton. I said nothing about the title of bishop. This is yet another example of you behaving like an overgrown 12-year-old.
That's true. The amount of patience Jay has is insane. If he's damned by Trent, everyone is cooked.
Instead of a mature man of God. Grow up. Notice my reply is not verbal abuse. It's a fraternal correction rooted in objective facts about how Dyer was conducting himself. It's the same correction I gave.
Yeah, I don't ever really cuss, dude. I think it, it's everybody has their own struggles, right? Everybody has their own struggles. People struggle with language. People struggle with, different things. People struggle with lust or wrath or, whatever else, laziness, gluttony, right? But I don't know. I'm not going to be the potty word police. That just strikes me as very effeminate, right? It doesn't mean, all right, listen, if you're watching this, don't use this as an excuse to go around dropping F-bombs because you think it's funny, right? We should be striving to better ourselves. We should be striving to be more holy. But the point that I'm making here is especially as somebody who says Muslims and Hindus can be saved, to condemn somebody to hell for saying potty words is wild freaking work. Okay. Even if I don't particularly use profanity, I'm not going to go around and say you're going to hell for using potty words, right? Of course, we should all strive upwards. We should all strive to be more moral. Jay's not a priest, right? He's not a priest. So, I mean, he's about to compare them. The reason I say that, he's about to compare them to Athonite monks and say, what would these monks say about this? Yes, of course, we know this is something that is less than desirable, right? Something that we should strive towards, improving. That doesn't mean you condemn them to hell over it. It's ridiculous.
Nick Fuentes regarding his abusive behavior towards my family.
Oh, my family. You attacked my family. You called my wife a bitch. Well, okay. You're a bitch. She's a bitch. You're a couple of.
Yeah. And he talks about Nick.
Oh, what would be better is if you submitted yourself to a spiritual director, maybe someone like Father Ripperger, so you can learn to behave in an actually Christ-like way and not like an overgrown 12-year-old screaming into his Xbox Live headset.
Oh, okay. So there you go. He can insult him in a different way, but as long as he doesn't say potty words, it's all right. He could say he's an overgrown 12-year-old screaming into an Xbox Live headset. He should submit himself to Father Ripperger, who talks to demons and gets advice from them, I guess. But what he can't do is say potty words. That's where I draw the line.
Again, fraternal correction is not the same as abusive insults, and any mature person can see the difference. But after giving this kind of correction to Jay Dyer, he completely lost it. He immediately blocked me and went on a tirade of posts, including one where he simply says, "Hey,
look, I think blocking people when they're making you mad is probably good, or blocking them so that they don't get you mad, like preemptively, right? Before I even made the announcement video that I was journeying into Orthodoxy, I had a preemptive block list provided to me. I said, please tell me who are the most subversive accounts that are going to give me a big headache, and I'm going to go ahead and block them. And I went ahead and I did that like day one. So I think that's wise, right? But anyway.
Trent F-word you. And this kind of language isn't unusual for Jay, though I would ask him if the Orthodox monks on Mount Athos talk like he does. And I'm going to be blunt. If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me.
There you go. So that's the context of that clip here. Look, I'll play it one more time just so you can see what he says.
Dyer, he completely lost it. He immediately blocked me and went on a tirade of posts, including one where he simply says, "Hey, Trent, F-word you." And this
is what he's saying he's going to hell over, for saying, "Hey, Trent, F-word you." So using potty words is the immediate context of this "you're going to hell" statement.
Kind of language isn't unusual for Jay, though I would ask him if the Orthodox monks on Mount Athos talk like he does.
Yeah, and he's comparing him to monks on Mount Athos. Do these monks use potty words? Jay Dyer, internet apologist. You should also live exactly like a monk.
That's gonna send you straight to hell, amen.
Granted, again, don't use this as an excuse to go around and say, the F-bomb or whatever. Everybody's got stuff that they work on, right? My point is saying condemning him to hell over it is insanity. That is a huge, huge, huge overreach. First off, you're putting yourself in the judgment seat of Christ and you're judging his heart, right? You're judging his intent. You're saying, since he said this word, this potty word, therefore he has anger in his heart. Therefore, he's going to go to hell because he has anger in his heart because he uses potty words. That's the line of reasoning here.
And I'm going to be blunt. If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me is that Dyer, Wilson, and other commenters like them cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences.
Cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences. So he's saying that Andrew Wilson, Jay Dyer, going to hell, their audiences going to hell, or could be, or it's being cultivated. They're producing a crop of damnation amongst their followers. This is wild stuff for him to be saying. Now, look, okay, I do want to cut Trent just a slight amount of slack. Okay, I do want to cut Trent just a slight amount of slack. Yes, this is a massive overreach. Yes, you shouldn't be condemning people to hell, dude. This is wild. Okay, especially if you're trying to portray yourself as the more charitable and nuanced guy, right? This is something I would expect more Sam Shimon to be saying. Okay, Sam Shimon condemns somebody to hell every single stream, including myself. Sam Shimon said, I'm a son of the devil. I'm a servant of Satan, so on and so forth, because I said the truth that Trent Dougherty was debating with a bisexual atheist in the debate we had when I was Protestant. So I would expect this from Sam Shimon, but not when you're doing the piety signaling stream. How are you going to do a piety signaling stream and condemn people to hell in the same breath? This is absolutely insane. This is wild stuff, dude. This is wild. Anyway, the slack that I wanted to give him. Okay, his wife, he's going through a hard time. Trent is going through a hard time. Obviously, he's under a lot of stress. All right. You see the bags under his eyes. You can see, he looks a little disheveled, a little stressed out. Anyway, his wife has cancer, is recovering from cancer, or, recovering from the cancer surgery, brain surgery. The last time I checked, she's going through speech therapy and stuff like this. So I can only imagine the amount of stress that Trent Horn is going through right now. So I do want to say, look, all right, we're each given one. All right. But you might, in a spirit of actual love for people, I would say it might be time to take a little bit of a vacation if the stress from all of this stuff is causing you to condemn people to hell for saying the F-bomb. All right. Condemn people to hell, not only them, but all of their followers to hell for saying the F-bomb. Okay. I think it's because of stress. All right. Jay was posting saying something like he's running from debates and things like this. I think that might be an aspect of it. I think it's because of stress. Okay. Trent has been doing the piety signaling thing for a while now. And since the optics are now swaying out of his favor, because he's used to them being in his favor all the time. But since they're swaying out of his favor, he is, he's even more stressed. He's being pushed to the brink. So I would say take a break, dude. Take a break, because you shouldn't be saying everyone's going to hell for saying potty words.
And can see the difference. But after giving this kind of correction to Jay Dyer, he completely lost it. He immediately blocked me. And
guys, let's not talk about his wife. That's going too far. What did I don't know if you have comprehension issues or what, but I literally just said that is an excuse for his behavior, that it is understandable that he is frustrated. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you just aren't following along or what. Anyway, let's see this. What is RC's justification for Jesus being sustainer of all? Hebrews 1:3, Colossians 1:17. It is clear that he is. Well, I'm not doing a theology stream right now, but I appreciate your super chat, man. Come back when I do one of the priest Q&As or something, we could chat theology. Thanks for becoming a member, Tony of the Desert. Appreciate you. Paisios of EO. St. Paisios literally cursed Coptics in the Pope. I don't know if he used profanity, but he certainly didn't have kind words to say. That's true. Trent damns Dyer to hell for cussing whilst having full-blown debates with people like Destiny. What a tone policing narcissist. Having debates with people like Destiny and calling out rather Jay over Destiny is insane. Right. But again, right. It's Lent. These things go around. The interpersonal drama is nonstop. This is incredibly immature on Trent's part. Yeah, I think this is a crash out, high stress crash out. Thank you, Lord, that I'm not evil like Jay or Andrew, The parable of the publican and the podcaster. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's basically what he's like. He's like, thank you, God, that I don't use potty words like Jay, who is a condemned. He's condemned for having anger in his heart. Thank you, God, for not putting anger in my heart like Jay. He sounds like who's that guy? Who's that guy that always says amazing or whatever? Amazing. Who's that guy that says that? The dude that Jesse Lee Peterson? Amazing. Yeah, he's like, you got anger in your heart. You got anger. You got anger, so you're a sinner. You got anger. Jay Dyer just had an interview with him, I guess. I'm interested to see that. JLP is crazy, though. He's absolutely crazy. Trent just needs to take a break to focus on his wife. Yeah, I would say that would be genuine advice. Something really to consider. On a serious note, Trent, if you're watching this, dude, I have complete compassion for your situation that's going on. Cancer sucks. I've had cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. I know it sucks. It's got to suck taking care of this stuff. But dude, if you're coming to the point where you're like, you're so stressed out that you're condemning people to hell for using potty words, you might want to take a break. And again, don't take that out of context. I'm not attacking you in your situation. I'm saying I can understand why you're so stressed. That's all I'm saying with that. Trent to Destiny, RCs could use someone like you. Like Destiny. Lord of mercy, dude. Lord of mercy. All right, anyway. Let's see.
Went on a tirade of posts, including one where he simply says, "Hey, Trent, F word you." And this kind of language isn't unusual for Jay, though I would ask him if the Orthodox monks on Mount Athos talk like he does. And I'm going to be blunt. If a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me is that Dyer, Wilson, and other commenters like them cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences. And that can lead to damnation for many of their followers if they fall down the rabbit hole of hatred and malice. What amazes me about everyone who says I'm tone policing is that when I watch their response videos, they just stare at their screen as I read off Bible verse after Bible verse that says Christians should not act like the way they act.
So, all right, so you're saying that the correct response is to say, you're a filthy sinner in this one area, you're going to hell because you have different sins than I do. Look, we all agree. We all agree that we should be striving upwards. We all agree that we should be working on the things that we struggle with. Some people struggle with alcohol addiction. Some people struggle with overeating. Some people struggle with being lazy, right? But, it would be hypocritical of somebody who, say, struggles with being lazy to then point to somebody who maybe struggles with an alcohol addiction and say, you filthy sinner, you're going to hell unlike me. Thank God I'm not an alcoholic like that guy, or, I'm the lazy guy, whatever. You get the point. That's what we're saying here. Okay. And you're making a judgment of his heart because of some words that he said. You can't see inside of his heart for this stuff. This is ridiculous.
And they have no response, or they use the craziest exegetical gymnastics to get around the text.
Hey, big super chat. He said, "Effing love you, Trent." $100 super chat. I appreciate you, man. That's huge. That's funny. Yeah, you got some anger in your heart, Macaulay Roofing. You got anger. You got anger. I that would be a good soundboard thing. JLP saying, "You got anger. You got anger. You got sins in your heart. You got anger." Father Stephen the Young, RCs don't need destiny. They have plenty of gays. Lord have mercy. That's so funny, dude.
Here's part of Jay's reaction. Dropping an F-bomb to insult somebody, like Andrew does in this clip.
I will never be able to convince you of my worldview. Charlie, I just think, honestly, you're too stupid to understand them.
St. Paul repeatedly says that overseers in the church must be gentle and not quarrelsome or violent, and that all Christians must...
Overseers in the church, bishops. So is he saying, he's saying Jay's a bishop. Jay really is a black bishop. Is that the argument that we're making here? You're holding him to the standard of presbyter or bishop or episcopos?
Put away anger, wrath, malice, slander, and foul talk from their mouth. Jesus said in Matthew 5:22.
Oh, that's right, because he's talking about Andrew Wilson. Bishop Wilson. Bishop Wilson. Yeah, Jay is my favorite black bishop.
Whoever insults his brother shall be liable to the council, and whoever says you fool shall be liable to the hell of fire. And 2 Timothy chapter 2 said,
Yeah, the text is not making a joke or making fun of people. The text is accuses his brother and thus liable to the council. So that's some Roman Catholic translation.
notice that Jay has to sit in silence at the verses which describe how Christians should act, because he consistently does not act like that. Second, Matthew 5:22 doesn't.
So are you trying to say he's a bishop then? Look, dude, we get it. We get it. You got to act better. You got to act better. That doesn't excuse condemning him to hell for, though. You got to act better. Everybody's got to act better. I got to act better. I got stuff I got to work on, dude. I got a full-time job working on myself, right? I have too much time to spend working on myself, Trent, to go and condemn other people for their bad behavior, right? Which is why I'm not saying you are a bad condemned sinner for calling out Jay and saying that he's going to hell. My advice is simply take a break and go spend time with your family. That's all it is. I got a full-time job working on myself, dude. You know what I mean?
have the Greek word kategoreo, which means accuse, though that word does appear in Matthew 12:10 and Matthew 27:12. An accuser is mentioned in Matthew 5:25 in a different context and situation. But the Greek of Matthew 5:22, the verse I referenced, just records Jesus saying anyone who becomes angry or enraged with his brother or gizomenos is liable to judgment.
Bishop Tilda Swinton. I'm just happy Jay Dyer addressed me by my title of bishop. That's so funny, dude.
And anyone who says or calls, not accuse, but merely says his brother is a raka or fool will be liable to the Sanhedrin and hell of fire. And this isn't some Catholic translation, because the same translation can be found in the Orthodox Study Bible. Another point my profane critics made was that I was inconsistent, because I thought Stephen Colbert's joke with Philip Zimbardo, where he said, "I teach Sunday school, mother effer," was okay. But most people recognize that Colbert was speaking comedically in an over-the-top way. He wasn't angrily calling Zimbardo an MFer, like how Dyer said F you to me with anger, or other apologists online who I've seen use language.
Anyway, you get the point. It's one big piety signaling thing. The whole point, though, is that he's condemning him and Andrew Wilson and all of their followers to hell for using potty words. What did I say on this? I said, I don't have any personal issue with Trent Horn, but saying Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson are going to hell and are leading people there for using potty words while also believing Muslims and Hindus might be saved is wild work, right? Nostra Aetate literally says the plan of salvation includes such as these, and lists Muslims, lists Jews, lists Hindus. They had a document not that long ago that came out that said that Hindus worship God with a capital G. This is the same thing that Nostra Aetate says. And the document cites Nostra Aetate, right? But anyway, actually says they adore God. So that's even bigger language. Trent Horn's response: I didn't condemn potty words. For example, it's not a big deal to praise something as F-N-A, but F-U is almost always a communication of sinful anger. That kind of wrath is incompatible with the Christian life. So he's making a heart judgment. He's making a judgment of his heart. He's saying F-U is always means you got hate in your heart, you got anger in your heart, you got wrath, you got sinful wrath and anger. So therefore you're going to hell. Andrew Wilson responded. He says, I've been pretty measured in my responses, Trent, but I see you won't stop coming until I put a lot of these criticisms to bed. Not like talking to you is possible since you refuse to discuss any of the accusations you make with the accused. So Andrew Wilson, very measured response here. Okay. Notice something, by the way. All right. Original post, 1,000 likes. Trent Horn's response, 81 likes. Andrew Wilson's response, 712 likes. Massive, massive, massive disparity in the people that are supporting his particular view here. So I think that might be contributing to some of the stress, right? Is that the optics are swaying out of his favor. But listen, honestly, dude, I think you just might be so stressed out you can't see how this looks to everybody else, right? So I want to be charitable. I'm not using that as an insult, by the way. I'm not trying to insult you by saying you're stressed. I'm like trying to give you an out, okay? Because that would be the right way to come back from this, is just to say, like, look, I'm a little stressed out because of ABC 123. I'm taking a bit of a break. Maybe I shouldn't have said that he's going to hell. Or maybe you could even say, I didn't mean it in that way. I just think people shouldn't use profanity or whatever. I mean, you still be piety signaling, but you wouldn't be condemning people to hell or saying that they're going to go to hell for doing ABC 123. The worst thing that Trent could do in this situation would be to double down on this position. That would be the worst thing. And unfortunately, I do think that is probably what's going to happen, is he'll double down on this. The better thing to do would be say, look, I get it. I'm stressed. I got a little heated. Jay's been pushing my buttons lately. So, I shouldn't have said that they were going to hell for doing this, but, and then everybody else that follows him is going to be led to hell if they, whatever, so on and so forth. Whatever. Or I didn't intend it in that way would even be a better thing to do. But I think he's going to triple down on it. So we'll see. Pray for him, but we'll see. He responds, won't stop coming. Andrew, I barely mentioned you in this episode, and I discussed my previous one with you extensively before airing it, but you still said I was dishonest. And the Jay's whining about my critiques being because you two go on big podcasts. I don't care. Wes Huff goes on huge podcasts, and I don't attack his approach because he engages others in a Christ-like manner while still being masculine. He could outlift either of you in the gym easily. Oh yeah, well, you know what? I can almost bet. I can almost bet that I lift more than Wes Huff. I can almost bet. Let's do this. Come on, Wes. We're gonna have a lifting competition. Actually, let's do this. Let's do some jujitsu. We'll roll in the gym. We'll do some lifting. We'll see who can lift more, me or Wes. Me or Wes Huff. I'll take that challenge. How about that? I'll lift so you two don't have to. I'll lift enough for the three of us. Wes Huff goes on huge podcasts. I don't attack his approach because he's Christ-like while still being masculine. He get outlifted in either of you in the gym easily. Wes Huff also doesn't do debates at all anymore. He did like one, right? Didn't he debate? Who did he debate? He debated that weird Gnostic dude and then hit the lottery by going on Joe Rogan after that. After one debate. And then all of a sudden he's going on podcasts and they're titling him #1 Christianity expert. #1 Christianity expert. Look, dude, I don't think it would be smart for Wes to do debates. Honestly, I think he should keep going with what he's doing. But if he did do a debate with even your like most milquetoast Roman Catholic or your average Orthodox guy, he's going to get smoked. There's no way he's not. Right. But anyway, his expertise is manuscripts. All right. He's not a debater. He's not an apologetics guy. He's got one focus, manuscripts. He's probably not even #1 manuscript guy. But then again, I'm not going to make that claim. But #1 Christianity expert, that's a stretch. But anyway, Wes, if you find my words offensive, let's lift. Let's lift, bro. Let's have a lifting competition, me and you, dude. We're gonna we're gonna lift some iron. I'm taking you down in the gym, brother. We're lifting some weights together. Me and Wes Huff lifting competition. Anyway. Oh yeah, there you go. Father Moses lifting competition. He tore his bicep though, so I don't think he's gonna be doing any of that anytime soon. All right, anyway. I intend to go on as many big podcasts as possible to show even degenerates can be charitably evangelized. Yeah, you just tell them they're going to hell for using potty words if they say that. Though my travel will be very limited while my wife recovers from brain surgery and cancer treatment. Look, all right. I know we're kind of funny here, but this really does suck. So as much as it is extremely distasteful that Trent is saying that these, Jay's going to hell, Andrew's going to hell, so on and so forth in a refutation video, I still would encourage you all, pray for Trent, pray for his wife. That really does suck. As somebody who's gone through cancer, it does suck. Okay. It is extremely stressful. So pray for Trent, pray for his wife. All right. Anyway, so I will be spending my time engaging important issues in those venues, not arguing inanities with you guys. So he's saying he's not going to debate them. He's just going to do response videos and not interact with them, so on and so forth. Finally, Jay, good on you for growing up a little and unblocking me. Shows there's hope for everyone. So he says, you're going to hell for insulting me and for having sinful anger. And then he gets angry at Jay and calls him a child. Shows there's hope for everyone. Even a child like you can unblock me. Andrew Wilson says, disingenuous. You mentioned my name at the beginning and kept referencing people like these. To the onlooker, the appearances, Andrew Wilson is people like these. The reason I am cautious with my words about fellow Christians in the space is because I know how much influence they can have. Never get the same courtesy back. So I will also make a video response, since talking is always out of the question with you. You wouldn't want to roll around with the pigs after all. All of this could have been avoided too if you followed the proper procedure for how you're supposed to correct a brother. Yeah, reach out to them directly. Tell me how that's supposed to be done, Trent, and how you did it. You could argue I didn't do that first, but is the way you behave supposed to be dictated by your logic, by how I behave? Anyway, you get the point. So that's the back and forth there. Trent Horn says,
going to be blunt.
This year,
if a person consistently has this kind of anger in his heart, he will not go to heaven. What concerns me is that Dyer, Wilson, and other commenters like them cultivate this sinful attitude among their audiences. And that can lead to damnation for many of their followers. I'm going to be blunt. If a person...
Anyway. So Trent's condescending and superior tone is okay. I guess so. Well, I mean, he called him a child, all sorts of other stuff, said he's going to hell. But, if you use potty words, that apparently is the unforgivable sin. Throwaway account. Cleve, when is the next video with Marco? I'm eagerly waiting for the infant baptism one. Let's take a look. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I'm going to pull up my schedule. I think it's next month. Marco's video. He's going to be coming on April 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be infant baptism as a subject. Marco's going to be on. He's a Church of Christ pastor that is investigating orthodoxy. And Father Ron will be there to discuss infant baptism. Reminder, since we have over 500 live viewers right now, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, mark your calendars. Massive, massive, massive interview. Bishop Emilianos is going to be on the show. He was tonsured into the great schema, as was his spiritual father, who is literally a saint. Okay. So he's going to be on to talk about Nepsis. He's going to talk about the great schema. He's going to talk about the monastic life. And if you have questions for him, we're going to have a Q&A session towards the end of the stream there. So do not miss out on that stream. Thursday, massive stream. It's always great when we get hierarchs on the show. Super, super insightful. The last one that we had with Vladika Jonah was excellent. I'm sure this one's going to be excellent as well. All right. So I could go on and on and on about the stuff with Trent Horn. A ton of stuff to be said about this situation, but I'll leave it there. Again, it is Lent. Pray for Trent and for his wife, right? While we disagree with how he handled this particular issue, doesn't mean we can't pray for the guy. Anyway, I want to talk about another Trent. I want to talk about my favorite Trent. I want to talk about the number one Catholic Trent, okay? Trent Dougherty, my old friend, my old Palorino. So he's back. He's back. He's back again. All right, let me take a look. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong thing here. So Trent Dougherty was recently on Pints with Aquinas a day ago. So again, if you don't remember who this is someone I debated back when I was a Protestant. Okay. I debated him on JP Uncut's channel. It was me and JP Uncut versus Trent Dougherty, Dr. Trent Dougherty, and Danny Philtalk, the bisexual atheist, was on his team. They were defending Vatican II's do Muslims have the same God as Christians? They were defending it philosophically, maybe not necessarily the document, but they were defending that notion. Do Muslims have the same God? We go into sense referent distinction. We go into all sorts of different philosophical talking points. Long story short, though, Trent Dougherty absolutely crashes out in this debate, and he's back. One thing that I'll say, okay, because I've talked about this gentleman. I was told he was gone for good. I was told that his fellow Roman Catholics told him to retire. Hey, we got Alex Soren in the chat. Good to see you, dude. But yeah, I was told he was gone. I was told he was done for. By the way, Father Stephen, Alex, if you guys want to come up, feel free. I can send you a link if you want to come up and hang out with me. You guys are always welcome to do so in these live streams. Just let me know. But anyway, yeah. So he's back, I guess, from a long hiatus. The last time that he was seen in the public sphere was the debate that he had with me, and he quit after that. That's what I heard. I heard that his fellow Roman Catholic apologists told him, you cannot be defending the Roman Catholic faith in public if this is how you're going to behave, so you have to step away. And I heard he took that advice, but I guess he's making a comeback. This seems to be a common trend. You think these guys are gone, they come back literally like not even 6 months later. This happened with Voice of Reason. This is happening with Trent Dougherty. Who else has done this? A couple of other people. But anyway, he's back. Do you guys... I've been editing for like 6 hours straight. I look like a goblin. No worries, dude. Well, it's yeah, no worries. You can always come up whenever you want, dude, but no big deal if you can't. Anyway, yeah, so huge crash out from him. Absolutely insane. Let's see the crash out here. So Trent Dougherty is back. I find this interesting. So this was the old debate. This was back when I was a Protestant. This guy says, so Trent Horn, by this standard, is Trent Dougherty going to hell? He called another Christian all kinds of bad words. Even Cleave to Antiquity was pointing out a fact, which is even shown under Danny's name. Danny Philtalk, by the way, who I respect for staying and finishing the debate, because after this crash out, Trent Dougherty leaves his freaking debate partner there by himself to defend. He quit the debate. He left Danny by himself to finish the debate by himself against me and JP. Okay. So respect for Danny for staying, but Danny literally changed his name to Bisexual Atheist. Anyway. All right. Just a warning. Foul language warning. If you have sensitive ears, mute like the next minute. Okay. He's about to drop every curse word under the sun. All right. Just fair warning.
We can actually see the fruits of this type of theology on display here today, since you have teamed up with a bisexual atheist to defend your theology.
That's a piece of shit. That's a piece of shit move, you fucking piece of shit. Fuck you.
I'm just saying.
Disgusting. I cannot believe.
Even Danny was like, we just lost. Danny's like, this is not good. I'm just sitting there like, okay, what is the problem? I just pointed out, look, you can actually see, well, it's kind of blurry right here, but he changed his name midway through the debate. He added a tag to it that said bisexual atheist. I'm just pointing that out, and Trent's crashing out immediately.
That I'm sitting here and I am seeing somebody who claims to be a Christian treat another human being with such absolute disrespect. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. Danny,
well, you're coming here to defend theology
that is
with
the
an
most
atheist.
Unchristian.
That's just unchristian as he drops every single profanity, crashes out, and then later abandons Danny. That has his entire
Disgusting.
and now he's crashing out.
God have
And now he's crashing out.
mercy on your soul.
Well,
God have mercy
okay,
on your
and
soul.
now he's crashing
What
out.
a
Okay.
bullshit move.
Well, we can piety signal and all of this type of
What a
stuff.
bullshit
But I think
move.
that is the fruit of your theology. Ultimately, at the end of the day.
Let's
go back.
And then he calls me. Danny's like, let's go back to the debate, please. Look, respect to Danny. Danny took it like a champ. He stayed, he finished the debate. Trent Dougherty crashed out and left. Again, okay. Trent Dougherty crashed out. He left the public sphere after this. Everybody was making memes of this moment. Everybody was reposting this clip because he had just got done going on Capturing Christianity, and Cameron Bertuzzi was promoting this guy as like the next big thing. Dr. Trent Dougherty, PhD, right? But yeah. Anyway, this was a nightmare debate, dude. I mean, I like the even the logical points behind his arguments didn't make any sense. He was saying like I did the whole he said I asked him what's the line of delineation? So what are like the bare minimums that you need to have to make sure that you're worshiping the same God? He said there is no line of delineation. So we're all just worshiping the same God? Because he said Hindus worship the same God as Christians, Muslims worship the same God as Christians, Zoroastrians worship the same God. He said somehow atheists worship the same God. They don't worship God. He said somehow atheists worship the same God. So just everybody. It's just religious indifferentism, religious pluralism. It's just an insane position for him to hold. But this is what he was saying, well, they all intend to worship God, so they are all worshiping the same God. Okay, but the Bible literally says the gods of the nations are demons, right? The gods of the nations are demons. St. Paul literally says that the Jews in rejecting Christ reject God the Father. If they don't have the Son, they don't have the Father, right? They're worshiping demons, okay? I mean, this is literally biblical language. So I would ask him these questions. And again, I'm not doing debates right now, so I'm being obedient. But I do. If I talk about theology, I have a priest on. So if I say something wrong, I can be corrected right then and there. I do news reporting when I do solo streams. Okay, just so you're aware. But back when I was a Protestant, I did debates all the time. I love debate. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. I love doing debate. Okay. And again, I don't particularly use profanity. I don't, I'm not going to like wring my hands for Trent Dougherty using foul language. The crash out is what's funny. The fact that he blew up over nothing is what's funny, right? I find it entertaining that he crashed out. I'm not saying Trent is an evil man. He's evil. Trent is an evil. You hurt my feeling. You hurt my fifis, Trent. Like it doesn't bother me. I find it funny, right? Anyway, yeah, his theological points were wild. What did he say? I got him to admit that I'm pretty sure I used the pink elephant with a unicorn horn. I did actually use that. So there was a line of reasoning that I used on multiple different Roman Catholics back in the day to show that their Vatican II position was nonsense. Sense-referent distinction makes a mess of theology. It basically, the line of reasoning that I used, I said, okay, so what's the bare minimum? Trent Dougherty said there was none. But in other discussions that I've had, they'd say, oh, well, like as long as he's uncreated, like they worship like a, uncreated God, that is the God of Abraham, that's the creator of the universe, then it's the same God. I'd say, okay, so then what about a pink elephant with a unicorn horn? Would that be the same God if it's the God of Abraham, uncreated, and the creator of the universe? They say yes. And that's what happened in this debate as well. It's absolutely insane, dude. I mean, this position is like a kill shot for the Roman Catholics. Nostra Aetate really did put them in a huge bind, which is why I think Trent Horn in his video defending Vatican II said that you could privately reject it and it's not considered grave matter. which is wild. Let's see if I can find that one clip of the debate. Dougherty, Trent Dougherty. Here you go. All right, I'm going to share my screen right quick. There you go. Oh, stop it. There you go. All right. What's the limit? When do they start to worship another god? From my debate with Roman Catholic linguistics scholar Dr. Trent Dougherty, in which he admits there is no line of delineation. What is the limit?
But if they're aware of Jesus and they reject him, right?
Mhm.
Let's say Zoroastrians. You said Zoroastrians worship the same God. You said it's possible in some sense. Muslims worship the same God. Where's the line? What's the line of delineation?
There isn't one.
But if they're aware of Jesus and they reject him, right?
Mhm.
Let's say
Yeah. So they're aware of Jesus and they reject him. They're still worshiping the same God? Yeah. All right. What's the line of delineation? When does somebody not worship the same God? There is no line of delineation. This is the position. Everybody worships the same God. This is Nostratate's fruits for you.
But if they're aware of Jesus and they reject them, right?
Mhm.
Let's say Zoroastrians. You said Zoroastrians worship the same God. You said it's possible in some sense. Muslims worship the same God. Where's the line? What's the line of delineation?
There isn't one.
So this is the guy they're resurrecting. They're bringing him back. So he was just on Matt Fradd's show. People in the comments weren't really happy about it either, that he's coming back. But I say this. I say, please have Trent Dougherty go on every major podcast, do a huge media tour, promote him far and wide, make Trent Dougherty the face of online Roman Catholicism. Because I got to tell you, when he was going on all those podcasts back in the day, that was probably that was one of the most fun seasons in YouTube history just because of all of his insane takes. Please, Roman Catholics, put him on your show. Make him the face of online Roman Catholicism. Kudos to Matt Fradd for bringing Trent Dougherty back. Absolutely wild. I will say this. Look, I will say this. I know he was going through a hard time because he was let go from his college years ago for some relationship he had. I don't know all the details. I'll say one nice thing about him. He looked healthy in this interview, like he had a much needed break. Okay. And he sounded a lot more, coherent in this interview here. At the beginning of it, at the beginning of this interview, they mentioned the debates. They mentioned the debates very briefly, and they said, we'll get into these again later in the interview. And then they never got back into it, which I was kind of bummed about. So bring him back on so he could talk about these debates. Somebody interview Trent Dougherty. Do the whole podcast revival thing. All the Catholic podcasters, bring Trent Dougherty on and make him the face again. Oh man, what a wonderful time in YouTube history that was, when he was like the number one guy going on all the different podcasts, and then had back to back insane, absolutely insane debate losses. Craziness. All right, I'm going to wrap this up with some more Roman Catholic news here. We talked about Trent Horn. We talked about Trent Dougherty. We talked about Carrie Prejean. But we've got even more to discuss. Let's rapid fire through a couple of these here. I'm not even going to dive through this article because you could just kind of see from the subject line. Complicit clergy reports today. A Roman Catholic church and a casino operating under one roof. They felt closer to God. The people gambling at the casino church. So now you got Roman Catholic casino church. We're going to go play some blackjack at the casino church. Oh, man. So you got the clown mass. You got the casino church. You got the blackjack table. You're going to be able to do some slots at the church. Listen, you don't want to listen to the homily? Go gamble in the back. We got gambling in the back. You can smoke a cigar, right? You can have a little bit of whiskey, a little brandy. Yeah, based in Trad Casino Church, right? So you got that going on there. Get the crazy casino church going on there. Let's see what else there was. There's a ton of news in here, dude. Oh, here you go. This one was nuts. Let's take a look at this one. This was from Anthony Stein retweeted this. Oh, no. Yeah, I think he did retweet this, but Novus Ordo Watch broke this news here. Indian Novus Ordo Cardinal honors Transformers. Let's see what they have to say about this. Church, Revolution, and Pictures. Here you go. Indian Cardinal celebrating these Transformers here. You can kind of see. No thanks. Get that out of there. This was reported on Catholic Check. Get a better look at the people. So those are men. Those are men in dresses. The Cardinal features on this page is Cardinal Anthony Pula, Archbishop of Hyderabad in India. On February 7th, 2026, he was chosen to be the head of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. Cardinal Pula is known for his support of transformer, quote-unquote, women. In this archdiocese, in the GIF above, we see him covering some of these persons with symbolic shawls to signify that he is honoring them. To reciprocate the favor, they placed a pink shawl over his shoulders. Below first row, a considerable part of the Skittles people earn their living through, being people of the night. Okay. Doing a little hard work. All right. On that particular occasion, he was commemorating Christmas with 93 Transformers. So he specifically gathered up 93 Transformers to do a Christmas celebration. Bro. On December 18th, 2024, below first rows. Anyway, another one of the many occasions that he joined the Transformers was when he met 84 of them to celebrate the International Transformer Day of Visibility on March 31st, 2025. At the event, Cardinal Pula gave a speech, distributed awards and gifts, as well as lit a candle to show his respect for them. Oh, fifth row down. Okay. Photos, they have gifts. I get it. Okay. I was like, why are they putting this in here? Some of the Transformer people presented, oh, good grief, I can't read. Sorry. Some of the Transformers present danced for the Cardinal and the audience, displaying their seductive skills. I don't know if I want to see that. Anyway, so here's some of the things here. So you've got these men reciprocating this. Here's the Cardinal with a bunch of Transformers for Christmas. Here's him at the Day of Visibility with all the men in the background. More of this. There's them dancing for, it's men in dresses dancing for the Cardinal. He's not even looking. He's looking away. He's like, I don't want to look at this, dude. That's rough. That's insane, dude. Yeah, it's rough. Insanity. So this is what's going on in the Roman Catholic Church. You've got cardinals gathering a whole pack of Transformers and having them dance. That's what he's into. He likes having these people dance in front of him. He doesn't even look, though. He's like looking off into the corner. But why do it? Why do it? It's so weird. Anyway. All right, let's see. Okay, I have even more news. Pope Leo condemns aerial strikes. Fruit of abandoning church's just war traditions. Pope Leo says Aerial military strikes should be banned. He said they were evil. I'm going to rapid fire through some of these stories here because I've got a lot. Let's see. Yeah, there's an even more in-depth. This was Anthony Stein's coverage. Go watch that. Anthony Stein's coverage of the Pachamama stuff. Absolutely insane. Prevost's Augustinian Creed. Okay, this was interesting. This is the organization that he was worshiping Pachamama with. Okay. And they have an insane creed. Where does it say? Oh, I'm gonna have to read it here. Let's see if I can find the crazy teachings of this group that he was a part of. Hold on. Okay. All right. So this is the group that he's worshiping Pachamama with. Document describes 1993 meeting as shaped by Augustinian synodality and says the spirit of Kanakoto was a spirit of reflection, conversion, reconciliation, prophecy, communion, and participation. So this meaning here. Then it reproduces the young Augustinian's creed, including the astonishing line from the Augustinian creed. We believe in God, Father and Mother of life. This is a part of the creed of this group that Prevost, Pope Leo was a part of. We believe in God, Father and Mother of life. So saying God is a woman or a transformer. Lord of mercy, dude. Stuff is so sick. This stuff's been sick since even the 1990s. Been sick since Vatican II. Been sick for a long time. We believe in God, Father, and Mother of life. Look, there was that lady that was just made last year, was made the head of the dicastery for the religious life. And she made a statement saying something like, God is a woman. Well, that's what the Pope believes, dude. This is his group. We believe in God, Father, and Mother of life. Freaking insane, dude. Anyway. Jay befriended me on Facebook 20 years ago, and I'm still Protestant. I text with Jamie at least once a week. Appreciate your podcast. Hey, thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you. Become Orthodox immediately. Come to Divine Liturgy. Come hang out with us. There you go. It's obligatory. I have to say it. But thanks for the super chat. Thank you. An interview aired this morning of a monk. They let him become a monk with a small kid and a wife at Mount Athos. I'm disturbed as a catechumen. I haven't seen it. I have not seen it, but I can do some research into it and report on it and see what's going on there. Is it a schismatic group? I haven't seen anything about it. Is it a schismatic group? Is it canonical? This is what disturbs you. This is the thing that disturbs you, not God, Father, and Mother of life. This is what would disturb you. A guy is married to a woman and has a child. Oh, it's over. It's over. Man is married to woman. Obviously, monks shouldn't be married. I'm not saying that. I'm saying out of all of the scandals you could be scandalized by, that is not very high up on the rankings, in my opinion. Compared to the literal Pope calling God the Father and Mother of life. Granted, I haven't seen any of the reporting on this thing that you're telling me about, but I'll go check it out. Somehow, Cleve got me to subscribe, binge, and like all of Trent Dougherty's videos. He must become Pope. Get him on Joe Rogan. #1 Dougherty fan. So true. So true.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
Sir, why do you do this, sir? Sir, why do you have the Transformers dancing? Sir, please. Do not redeem. Didn't God destroy Sodom and Gomorrah with That's so true. Destroy Sodom and Gomorrah with airstrikes. Those were oof. Yeah, it's not good. Blessed Lent. Glory to God. Keep up the good work, Ben. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Ortho cards. Patriarch Ela 2 is already working miracles, by the way. Hey, glory to God. Yes. There was a post I saw First off, super inspiring story, Patriarch Hila, with raising the birth rate of his country by personally baptizing every child after the third child in each family. There was like 50,000 godchildren of his marching through the street after he reposed. But I saw a post that said, make sure that you pray for him throughout the 40 days after his repose. People assume, he's in heaven, so on and so forth, which is, I probably justified, but still you should pray for him, as you enter into the services throughout Lent. So, make sure to do that. Super important. Anyway, let's see. What else do I have? Oh, here you go. I've got some Protestant news. Anglican priestess is partnering with a adult shop to give away hundreds of these types of toys and then donating any profits from her affiliation to the unaliving doctors at this place, Planned Parenthood. Let's see what she has to say. This is an absolutely insane tagline, though.
Do you know who benefits the most from us being ashamed of our bodies? It's big money and big corporation. So how do we disrupt the system? It's learning to love our bodies and to use our money wisely. So last time I partnered with Belessa, I shared a really vulnerable story of myself. But this time, it's all about joy with a little dash of resistance. So here's my two-part invitation to joy and resistance. Number one, I'm doing a giveaway where everybody who signs up on my page either gets a free toy or a gift card. And two, the money that I gain from this partnership will go directly into Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood helps detect cancers, help treat STIs, helps provide access to birth control, and they have been heavily defunded. Do you know who benefits the most from us being ashamed of?
Lord have mercy. But Anglican bros seething. She's not in the conservative trad denom. Dude, she's not in my ACNA, my continuum. She's Episcopal. She's not real Anglican, dude. You don't understand. She's not a real one. No real Anglican fallacy. No, I mean, it's insane, dude. If you hear the word priestess, you're going to hear the most blasphemous drivel you've ever heard in your life. It's not surprising. It is not surprising that once you usurp the order that God has placed in the church and place yourself out of pride in a position you're not supposed to be, in, it's not surprising that you're going to spout the most evil stuff I've ever heard in my entire life. That doesn't come as a surprise to me. So she's partnering with an adult toy company to give money to basically unalive babies. This is the most evil thing you could possibly do. Look, most evil thing you could possibly do. Yeah, it's unfortunate, dude. It's unfortunate. I don't know if this person's US based or what, but I don't get I get it. It is completely demonic, right? I get that she is under the influence of demons. I was going to say, like, dude, I don't understand why people would act this way. It's literally unaliving babies, but it's literally the demons. So there's no point in even really discussing it further. It's just completely subverted demonic institution with demonic priestesses. That's all it is. Absolutely wild. All right, let's see what else I have. I've got more stuff. Okay, I'm gonna rapid fire through some stories. I'm just gonna go through my bookmarks here. B-roll stories. Got to spare $640,000. You can meet Pope Leo. So Pope Leo is charging for visits as he does his I forget which country he was going in, but basically he said any media interviews, anything like this, it's like a $640,000 like charge. So you want to do some kind of like media interview with Leo, you're gonna have to pay almost $1 million. This was in his European tour though. Oh, here you go. This one was interesting. Cardinal Hollerich. I can't imagine in the long run how a church can continue to exist. This is a cardinal, right? Roman Catholic cardinal. Can continue to exist if half of God's people suffer because they have no access to ordained ministry. He's talking about women should be priests. So this is a Roman Catholic cardinal advocating for this. This is what he wants. Roman Catholic Church, the Cardinals, this is what they want. They want this woman doing basically anything that an ordained priest could do. So this is your hierarchs. Is it any surprise? Is it any surprise the USCCB opposes people who are any like slight amount of conservative, like Carrie Prejean? Is it any surprise Bishop Barron runs cover for Israel? Is it any surprise Cardinal Dolan does the same thing? Is it any surprise the Cardinals in India have Transformers dancing for them? They literally have Transformers dancing for them. They gathered like 80 of them, like they're collecting Pokemon cards, and said, now dance for me. Dance for me, boy. That's what they're doing. It's crazy. But now you have Cardinals saying, guess what we need now? The crisis of the church is we don't have women as priests. So that's the next big push. This is what the hierarchs want. Anyway, let's continue on. Bishop Barron. Yeah, here you go. There's another statement here. Cardinal Hollerich is the Realtor General for the Synod on Synodality. We've talked about that a lot on the show. His support for women's ordination should automatically disqualify him from all church offices. He should be confined to a cell to do penance for the remainder of his life. That's not going to happen, though. He's getting promoted, right? He's one of the heads of the Synod of Synodality. So when you hear that Leo pushing the synodal church, these are the people that are running this push. How much more clear can it get? This isn't vague. This is what they want to have happen, right? The Synod on Synodality, they want to basically vote on doctrine. This is the German synodal push, at least. They want to basically be able to vote on doctrine. 80% of the Roman Catholic bishops in Germany support women's ordination. They support, or no, it was 80% of the German Roman Catholic bishops support Skittles marriage. Even more of them, I'm sure, support women's ordination. So if they're going to allow them to vote on doctrine, of course, they're gonna be Skittles marriages in the Roman Catholic Church. Of course, there's going to be women priests. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. Brazilian bishop hosts meeting of heterodox pro-Skittles Catholic groups inside his house. There you go. I'm not going to dive into it. I'm just going to rapid fire a couple more news stories. But yeah. Ortho Cards, thanks for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Behe Bowser became a member. I appreciate you as well. Just Uncut is doing tone policing. Oh, JP Uncut is doing a tone policing virtue signaling stream about Jay Dyer, Andrew Wilson, and Sam Shimon right now. Oh, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, dude? Look, I like JP. You know, I still talk to him every now and then. We still chat back and forth. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I do think tone policing and piety signaling is annoying, though. But you can be friends with people and disagree with them. I don't have to say JP's going, you're going to burn in hell for piety signaling. I don't have to do that. All right. Church teaching new Archbishop of Vienna suggests ignoring church law for divorce and remarry. But this is already done. What do you mean? Ignoring church law? They already can receive the Eucharist under their communion, under Amoris Laetitia. This is already changed. So divorced and remarried people can already receive the Eucharist. What are you talking about? This isn't a change. This is already done. Which is why I don't understand. I don't understand when Roman Catholics raise the whole 3 divorce argument. I don't understand why they raise this whole 3 divorce argument when they literally give the Eucharist to divorced and remarried people as a rule now. Go read Amoris Laetitia. Crazy. Let's see. All right. Talk again about the German Roman Catholic Church here. 500,000 Roman Catholics lost just in 2024. They lost 500,000 members. No surprise there. Here was a video response, by the way, to the Carrie Prejean thing. So this was from the USCCB. This was their response after their memo got leaked. They put out this response talking about the Carrie Prejean thing. So this is what they had to say about the situation. They put out a thing against anti-Semitism.
As Catholics, we are called to walk in the truth, and so to reject the conspiracies and lies that lead to harassment and even violence against our Jewish brothers and sisters. There is a strong connection between religious freedom and working to counter anti-Semitism, as Nostra Aetate puts it, in a rejection of every persecution against any man. The Church, mindful of the patrimony she shares with the Jews, and moved not by political reasons, but by the gospel's spiritual love, decries hatred, persecutions, displays of anti-Semitism directed against Jews at any time and by anyone. The Jewish community is attacked at a far higher rate than any other religious group in the United States.
So that's what he's saying. The statement of the USCCB is saying, look, we have to oppose Carrie Prejean. We have to do this because the Jews are attacked more than anyone else for their Zionism. Well, maybe it's because, look, maybe what you're perceiving as Jews being attacked is people pushing back on this genocide that's going on because of Israel right now. Maybe it's people pushing back on the Zionist regime currently running rampant in the United States. Maybe it's people pushing back on that, and you're viewing that and conflating that with anti-Semitism and people attacking Jews. Okay. Because you know what I really don't see? I don't see people attacking people based on their race. I see people attacking Zionists. I see people attacking people who want to take over vast swaths of territory because they feel like the Bible has granted them this land. Right. And they want to usher in the Antichrist by building a third temple or something. Right. That's what people are attacking, right? But yeah, we have to oppose Carrie Prejean because people are pushing back on Zionism too much. They're being anti-Semitic, so on and so forth. I mean,
if we Catholics, in truly living out the gospel, are to defend religious freedom with integrity, we must clearly speak out against anti-Semitism. As Catholics,
there you go. We have Mr. IBS himself, very brave of these priests to go against the grain to support Zionism. Truly the road less traveled. Yes, very, very, very brave. Brave is the word. Gifted. Hey, thank you for gifting one Cleave to Antiquity membership. I appreciate the support. I support synodality in RCC. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I mean, are you Roman Catholic or are you Orthodox? Are you saying you support it because it's like, what's your position? I don't get what you're saying. Anyway, yeah, Mr. IBS. That's so funny, dude. But yeah, so anyway, so USCCB condemns Carrie Prejean for saying you can't conflate Zionism or anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. They say, no, you can. The USCCB says, basically they're using the ADL's language here. And even in this video, they're basically saying, well, since the Jews are attacked more than any other group, we have to push back on this because you're being anti-Semitic by opposing Zionism and not wanting us to conflate these two terms. And when he says attacking the Jews, what he means is attacking the nation state of Israel's like genocidal war that they are prosecuting right now. So any more craziness from the USCCB. Is this really even a surprise at this point, though? I feel like this isn't even news. Here you go. Here's an interesting one. This was in an edit that I did. If you don't already follow me on X, go ahead and follow me there. Follow me on X, Instagram, TikTok. Follow me on Rumble. Follow me on Kick. I am dual streaming right now to Rumble and Kick at the moment. I've also been uploading unique content that you're not going to see on YouTube to my X account, to my Instagram, and to my TikTok. Though my TikTok is completely shadow banned and nuked into the dirt. Instagram, though, is still getting good reach. All right, here you go. Tradition in Action shared this. These are altar girls led by Father Carlos. I'm not even going to try that last name, from Our Lady of something, church in something, state of something in Brazil. There you go. I can pronounce that word right there. I can pronounce Brazilian. All right. I can't pronounce no Carlos Figueiredo, Our Lady of Aparecida, Church Tapejara, state of Panorama, Brazil. There you go. That's my best shot right there. This video reminds us that women should not serve the mass, dance in church, especially before the altar, so on and so forth, whatever. So these are the women altar servers here. And the priest decided it was a good idea for them to do a little TikTok dance right next to where the mysteries are served. Oh, I'm muting this so I don't get copyright striked. So based in trad, super based in trad altar girls. This is your based in trad church right here, dude. You're based in trad church right here, brother. That's right. You got the altar girls dancing right next to the altar. That's what they're supposed to be doing right there. Anyway, yeah, in front of the altar. They didn't even Dougie. It's over, dude. It's over. All right. Do I have any more? Oh, my goodness. All right. I covered this extensively in a members video. This was nuts. I'll give you a synopsis. All right. If you want to see the whole thing, become a member. I cover this extensively. Ted Cruz endorses the most insane anti-Roman Catholic, anti-Orthodox, schizo AI fueled rant by Insurrection Barbie that basically says that all the Orthodox and Roman Catholics converting Protestants is like a big op to try to make the United States less Zionist. It's all some big smoke and mirrors thing. They're attacking sola scriptura because they hate America. That's basically what this article says. They're attacking sola scriptura. They're attacking evangelicalism because they want us to stop being Zionists. They're converting people to Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism because they want us to stop, doing all this other stuff. So this is some big op, is what they're saying. Not just that sola scriptura is logically untenable. Wild. So if you want to check that out, you can go watch that in the member section of the channel. Brazilian bishop hosts LGBT meeting in his home. Oh, here you go. So I've been talking about this for a long time, and I've done several shows detailing this. But this is a Roman Catholic speaker talking about the same thing that we've said on this show a million times. So real-time vindication here. Liz Yore exposes the Catholic Church's role in the migrant crisis in America. I've said this time and time and time again. The Roman Catholic Church are one of the biggest proliferators of legal and illegal migration into the United States. The USCCB's website literally says they seek the maximum amount of funding to bring in migrants. This is what they say. Let's hear what she has to say.
The Catholic Church made billions off of the migrant crisis. In my opinion, and I've studied this, researched this, each diocese received federal grants. Each diocese in the United States received federal grants for moving migrant children into the United States. So it was not just Catholic Relief Services, Catholic Charities, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. It was all the dioceses. They had invested monetary interest in keeping the migrant flow open. And
yep, they get tons of money for keeping the migrant flow open and flooding these nations with migrants. We saw this in Spain. They assisted in the naturalization of 500,000 illegal migrants in Spain just a year prior. Their Council of Catholic Bishops in Spain were literally pushing for that exact number to be legitimized. You'd be insane to think they didn't have a part in it.
Flooding the United States. And I used to work when I was at DCFS with Catholic Charities. They were our nonprofit who found foster parents for us. They know what they're supposed to be doing with these children. Catholic Charities, frankly, when I work with them, they're the best in the business. But in order to...
Oh, hey, I didn't even see this. Great Scott gifted 5 Cleave to Antiquity memberships. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the gifted. Everybody spam W gifted in the chat. W gifted. Thank you. I appreciate it. There you go. There's your soundboard. This is the soundboard you get.
Place a child with a foster parent, and this foster parent and sponsor about this same job. They had to go through 6 weeks of training, multiple background checks, multiple FBI criminal checks, inspections of their homes, all sorts of referrals and references, and maybe then they'll be approved as foster parents. As I said in the speech, this was a dump and run. You didn't even know who these kids.
I entertain myself, man. I have my own fun. I'm just retarded. That Mr. IBS is hitting hard. the IBS button. So true. So true. There you go. There you go.
You promised my son that you're going to give him free Robux.
We're staying with. They just drop the kids off at Joe Blow's house.
Trent, Father Stephen DeYoung says, Trent Horn finds your soundboard childish. It's over. Trent has condemned me to the seventh circle of hell. Or the 4th. There you go. Not too far down.
And good luck, bye. And they never checked back. They never even looked inside the house to see whether there's a bed. So Catholic Charities was making billions. That's why the bishops, in my opinion, are screaming bloody murder.
Did you see Andrew got Phil to retire from debating against Christianity live? Phil who? Danny Phil Talk? Or a different Phil? Let me know who that who he got to retire in the chat.
About the migration policy is because their money flow has been cut off.
Yep. So there you go. Right from the horse's mouth, you've got the Roman Catholic Church, not only the USCCB, but also the bishops making money on migrants coming in and flooding our nation with legal and illegal migrants. Right. I mean, we covered this a while ago with Lutheran Social Services, the USCCB. All of these NGOs receive money for basically resettling migrants in other countries to the United States. Some of this funding was cut under Doge with the some of the cuts to U.S. aid were cut, but they still receive funding to resettle migrants. So, I mean, they have a vested interest in basically human trafficking is what it is. And you see this in other nations as well. You see this in Spain. They lobbied to have 500,000 illegal refugees, or not refugees, illegal immigrants naturalized as Spanish citizens against the protestations of their own, Roman Catholics. Spanish Roman Catholics were pushing back on this. Like, we do not want this. They are harassing us. These migrants are going freaking nuts. There's a massive migrant crisis going on right now in Spain. The same thing's happening in other countries as well. And it's the same actors time and time and time again. This is why I don't understand why people like Nick Fuentes will push for some kind of Roman Catholic Christian nationalism when they are pushing back on immigration and things like this. Where do you think your tithes are going, buddy? Where do you think your money's going when you support this institution? It's going towards more migrants flooding into your nation. So if you're opposed to, your country basically being filled with Muslims and stuff like this, don't give the Roman Catholic Church your money, right? Just stop giving them your money. This is what they use it on. They use it on this. They use it on the whale mass. They use it on clown mass. They use it on hiring 80-something transformer people to do a little dance in front of the Cardinals. This is what they're spending your tithes on, dude. How are you not outraged by this? This is crazy, dude. Anyway. All right. Let me see. Was there anything else? I'm going to try to wrap up here. Yeah, even Nick Cavazos. Nick Cavazos says, to be fair, I'm pretty sure it's the Pope and the USCCB that are fighting all of Trump's immigration policy. Yes, because they are financially tied to these migrants coming and staying here. Nick Cavazos, he's starting to see the light. I mean, he made that video and he took it down immediately, but starting to see the light there. Oh, yeah, let's take a look at this. This will be the... There's so much to cover, dude. Yeah. Doug Wilson says Marian processions, Eucharistic processions would not be allowed in his version of Christian nationalism. Let's take a look at this.
Catholic church bells would be okay, right? Catholic church bells would be okay, but a parade in honor of the Virgin Mary, carrying an image of the Virgin Mary down Main Street, no, right? So
what about the
basically
Eucharist? What about the Eucharist? What about a Eucharistic procession?
That's a new one. I would say probably not. It would depend on what was being done around it, how it was being conducted. But basically, public displays of idolatry, what the Protestant foundation of the law would consider to be idolatry, would not be allowed. So you wouldn't have a Hindu procession with a Hindu god. You wouldn't have a procession of the Virgin Mary.
All right, so here you go. You have Doug Wilson, who, by the way, is Pete Hegseth's pastor. Doug Wilson, who has meetings with our president, Donald Trump, who is the Secretary of War's personal pastor, says that under his version of Christian nationalism, there will be no Eucharistic processions, right? Which we don't really do as Orthodox. But you can imagine, right, the triumph of Orthodoxy. We're walking around with the icons. You think he's going to be happy about that? No, right? This is the problem. This is why you can't have Protestant Christian nationalism. It always devolves into Puritanism. It always devolves into who was the protector of the Commonwealth? I'm blanking on his name because I'm getting tired. Who was the Lord Protector of the Commonwealth? He chopped the king's head off. Somebody tell me in the chat. Somebody's gonna know. Cromwell. It's just like Cromwell. This is what they want. They want another Cromwell situation where they're gonna ban Christmas. Christmas is idolatry, right? When the arbiter of judgment on these particular things is like a Protestant framework, it's just subjective to the people's opinion. Anything that any random prot online thinks is idolatry, this is the stuff these people want to ban, right? So how are you linking arms with guys like this in your Christian nationalist movement? Nick Fuentes, how are you going to link arms with guys like this? Though I'm pretty sure he calls them out for being pro-Israel. But to the other people, if you're a Roman Catholic, how can you support Protestant Christian nationalism? It just doesn't. It's not going to work. For that, on that point, I mean, how are you gonna support Roman Catholic Christian nationalism? It's just not going to work. I think the problem is political utopia on earth is not the purpose of our life. Political utopia on earth is a pipe dream. You can't make an idol out of political utopia. You know what the real goal should be? Making America orthodox, rather than trying to force some weird third way where we're just going to impose our beliefs on people that don't believe. Why don't we just focus on making America orthodox? It seems like the rest of the stuff will fall in line, right? It seems like the rest of the stuff will fall in line if we make America orthodox. We win over people to Orthodox Christianity. We put our efforts into evangelism, into winning people over for Christ, to his church, right? Don't raise up politics as an idol. I think this is a pipe dream. This is a big waste of time. That's not to say don't be active in politics. Obviously, be active in politics. We have to take care of temporal stuff. But I'm saying don't make this your end all be all. The goal ultimately should be making America orthodox. I think it's a huge waste of time to push for any kind of like ecumenist Christian nationalist movement, because this is what it ends up in. I mean, you get the Protestant guys in power, right? And then they're going to ban everything that makes your church your church. They're just going to persecute you. Same thing happened under Cromwell, right? Chopped off the king's head. All right. He banned Christmas. He made a council of the saints that immediately fell apart. He, chucking crosses across the room. All this kind of stuff. This is just Puritanism. This is what devolves, Protestant Christian nationalism devolves into. Roman Catholic Christian nationalism under Vatican II would be something I don't think we've ever seen before. It'd be crazy. All right, last video, and then I'm going to wrap up here. Ted Cruz thinks the phrase Christ is King is anti-Semitic. Christ is king is I hate the Jews. Let's see what he has to say about this.
Although it is being used online in a way that is meant to say, screw you, Jew. It is being used in a context very directly to say, I hate Jews, and that's almost an online code word. Christ is King is, I hate the Jew.
Is that your view, or why do you say that?
Because you see the people who are saying it, and they're saying it in that context. They're saying Jews are horrible, good, like they're attacking Jews, and they end with Christ is King to make it.
Don't you see that this is the play? They want to make everything that's not even remotely anti-Semitic. They want to label it anti-Semitism. Do you know why? Do you know why they're doing this? This is not them just being stupid, by the way. All right. This is not just Ted Cruz being an idiot. That could be part of it, but this is not just that. This is thought out. When you see all of these political actors doing the same exact thing, conflating terms and rolling them into one big thing, anti-Semitism. Okay. So saying Christ is King is anti-Semitic. Being anti-Zionist is anti-Semitic. Commenting on Laura Loomer's X account, something negative, is anti-Semitic. Okay. Any of these things, rolling all of these things up and conflating them. Oh, you don't understand. It's a dog whistle. All of these things are dog whistles. They're doing this on purpose so they can take action against you when they roll out their anti-Semitism laws. They're laying the framework. This is commie tactics 101. Word concept fallacies. This is their tactics, okay? Because it sounds a lot more rhetorically viable to say this guy is a nasty, vile anti-Semite, so we had to put him in jail. We don't want the Nazis coming back, right? We don't want the Holocaust coming back, right? So the guy that said Christ is King, we had to put him in jail. We had to. We don't want this to happen again. This is the play. It seems obvious to me. So I just be aware of that. The only actionable thing to be done, other than just complain about it like I'm doing right now, would be don't vote for any pro-Israel politicians again, period. To all the people who are like voting, like just going down the list, checking Republican, so on and so forth. You can't do that going forward. You really got to vet the people that you're voting. For instance, there's a race right now in Florida where James Fishback is running against Byron Donalds. We got to make sure Byron does not win because he wants to push those anti-Semitism laws hard. And they're using the ADL definition. So that means they're going to be sending people to prison for being anti-Zionist. That is what is coming down the pike. Okay. This guy has been paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, Byron Donalds, by AIPAC. Okay. Huge pro-Zionist, huge pro-censorship guy. He's getting backed by not only AIPAC, he's getting backed by the AI lobby that's giving him hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's got our compromised President Donald Trump's endorsement. So, this should tell you something. All right. We got to make sure Fishback wins. We got to make sure Byron Donalds does not, because that's going to be a nightmare. Let's be real. If Byron Donalds wins, I might not be able to talk about Zionism on this show anymore. I might be making some videos members only. Otherwise, you're going to see cleave to jail.
Like somehow there's a biblical basis.
And I'm not even anti-Semitic. I just talk about Zionism, right? we should, anyway, you get the point.
For attacking Jews. Look, Jesus was a Jew. And by the way, the twisted theology that says Jews are Christ killers, and that's been used to justify anti-Semitism, to justify persecution and murder. Look, as I read the Gospels, Jesus went to the cross willingly. He made the choice to go to the cross, and it was not the Jews who killed Jesus. It was me. It was you. Look, Jesus died for our sins because man is fallen, and the wages of sin is death. And Jesus took on the punishment that.
Yes, he does. How can you? That's one thing. How can you have dual citizenship and be a U.S. politician? That should be illegal.
You deserve and I deserve, so that we could be covered in his blood and receive salvation, not through works, not through what we do, but through the gift of God.
Yeah, not through. notice he had to do the anti-works thing, not by works, like those dirty Orthodox and Roman Catholics, not like those work salvationists, not like those people who believe in theosis like the Orthodox, right? Granted, we don't affirm that you're saved by works, but you get the point. So yeah, Ted's a preacher now. Ted basically says if you say Christ is king, you're anti-Semitic, and that's basically just so they could take action against you later. So yeah, a lot of crazy news this week. Absolutely insane. Got a $10 super chat. Orthodoxy is on the rise fast. I take the position that if it's not Orthodoxy, then it's by default Protestant. That includes RC. You mean Christian nationalism? Yeah. I mean, I don't think I think you're just going to have to try to vote for people who have morals that align with Christian values. Right? I don't think that making some kind of like theocracy is ever really going to work too well in America, especially with the demographics that we have right now and how Protestant this nation is. I think it's going to be a huge mess. We're going to have people just like Doug Wilson. Those are the people who are going to be in power in a system like this. So I think really, the goal should just be, first off, work on your own holiness. Second off, we got to bring people to orthodoxy. That's got to be the way forward. They'll make an idol out of politics. We still got stuff to take care of, but it's not the end all be all. I want another stream with Kangman Lee. That was entertaining. Yeah, I like Kangman. Kongman Lee. Yeah, he's awesome. But anyway, Christian nationalism in America is naturally ecumenist. True. All right. Well, that's a wrap there. So that's all the Roman Catholic news that I have. I'm going to let you know what I have coming up next. On the 26th, I have the interview with Bishop Emilianos, so make sure to tune in for that. That'll be this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in for that. I'm going to be posting putting the live lobby up tomorrow, so go ahead and hit the notification on that once that's up. The 31st, the long-awaited, so this next Tuesday on the 31st, I'm doing another Evil Cleve episode. So I'll be debunking my old interview with Joshua Shuping. So Father Ron's going to come on. We're going to be debunking that old interview. So that'll be interesting. That's been asked for quite a bit. And then the following Thursday, I'm going to have DPH on the show, and we'll be having a cool conversation there. But thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. Who's live right now? Is anybody live for me to send this to? Who's live right now? Anybody live? Let's see. Who can I send y'all to? Anybody live? It's kind of late. I don't know if anybody's actually. Send y'all to JP Uncut. No, I don't think anybody is. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Y'all have a good night. God bless.